What's going on, motherfuckers? Welcome to the Crocs and Hot Pockets podcast. Today is September 30th, 2018, and this is episode number 72. This episode is a 1v1 episode, and our guest today is Dable. What's going on, man?
Hey, hello. I'm so happy to be here on the grossest named podcast I've ever been on.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, my other podcasts I've been on haven't usually been named after food, so it's not necessarily a fair comparison, but
Okay.
also like, and your branding and imagery really sells it. In like, oh, don't expect much.
Are there any keto-friendly Hot Pockets that you can digest?
I don't think so, and I also wouldn't want that.
Okay.
Hot Pockets are bad.
They are very bad, but I like them sometimes.
Like, I get it. Like I wouldn't say Taco Bell is good, but I love it.
Right. Fair.
It's just that, like, I guess if my podcast would be Taco Bell and flip flops.
Okay. Fair.
I do just as a quick. I'm sure you get this almost every time you have a guest. So what a listening audience has heard the story. Can you please just like the 3-second version? Why that name?
Well, I do love both Crocs and Hot Pockets. I've always been given shit for the Crocs. I have
rightfully so.
a pair of Crocs and a pair of Croc flip-flops, which are pretty dope, but they hurt my tender little feet. And then I also like Hot Pockets. And so when I was trying to think of a name for the podcast, I also I'm a little bit sinister to where I like to do things if it knows that it will anger the general population. Like I purposely didn't watch Game of Thrones for years just so I could make people mad. Like I made that sacrifice just to get people to get angry. Because I always thought it was funny when people got so legitimately angry over something like I chose not to watch a TV show. So I thought
that's dedication to a bit. Holy crap.
Yeah. And then so that was kind of half of it. And the other half was, what is a podcast name that I could say once and somebody probably wouldn't forget? Crocs and Hot Pockets.
Okay. That's a mission success.
Yeah.
Well done. I stand by it. This is the grossest named podcast I've ever been on.
Hey, just like gross, good, bad press is bad press is good press. What's the saying?
It doesn't work. I believe it's any press.
Any
is good
press. There we go. All right.
Even bad press.
Well, we're going to get back to this gentleman in just a hot second. Real quick recap during the show. If you guys want to ask either us a question, feel free to use the !Q command in chat, and we will do the Q&A at the end of the show. If we're not live and you guys would like to ask a question or submit any sort of feedback, you can always shoot an email to crocs@knackers.com. And lastly, if you enjoy the show and you want to support us in a completely free way, please consider leaving a review for the podcast on iTunes. So first and foremost, I just got a shit ton of scripted questions that I want to ask you. And some of these are going to tell the chat if they like you or if they hate you. Just like if you're a Crocs guy or if you're a flip-flops guy.
There's the right answer to that question, but I guess they'll find out.
Right. We got to let them figure it out for themselves, right?
Okay.
All right. First and foremost, who the fuck are you?
Hi, I'm Dable. You can call me Travis. I respond to that as well. I am a streamer here on Twitch sometimes. Just actually started a new channel with my girlfriend, who's also a streamer. We literally had our first stream earlier today, which is twitch.tv/relationship material. It's going to be a Duke co-op stream situation. In addition to that, I tweet too much. And then I also founded and run a company called Bottle Spark, which is an influencer marketing company. So focus on monetizing live stream videos like Twitch, YouTube, Mixer. We have some Instagram in there. Basically, the ways that we help people keep making content and pay their bills.
Awesome.
We do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if at any point I ask a question too personal, feel free to just go personal, like to smack the desk and say personal. But I learned in my research that you also met your girlfriend on Twitch.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you guys
about 3.
Go ahead.
Okay, 3 years ago,
okay,
we met just like randomly, but we was friends for a long time. And then 7 months ago or so, no, 7 months ago, she moved out here where I'm at.
Okay.
Across country to live together.
Nice and fresh.
Yeah. And like before that, for like a few months, What I would probably tell most friends who would be in that position, hey, that's too little amount of time. We were doing the long distance thing. But I think that like we're a little bit older than your average demographic on Twitch. Like we're not some 20 somethings.
Okay.
I'm still 20 something, but we are a little bit older and like have actual life experience and jobs. So it was safe most of the time. But yeah, we met and like we're friends for a long time. I used to do a podcast back in the day. She was on the second episode of it. She was my interview guest, which is kind of fun to go back and listen to that, which is like a weird, like, hey, this is the person you're going to end up being in a good relationship with in 2 years. Just hang on, buddy.
Did you know at that time of the podcast that you're like, I'm gonna make this bitch my wife? Well, not necessarily make her my wife, but no idea. Okay.
I was in another relationship at the time.
Good boy.
But like it wasn't, and it was nothing like that. Like we were both in relationships. We were just friends. Like it was like, oh, look, another human adult on Twitch. That's a rarity. Let's just talk and be friendly with each other. And then like in like the last year and a half, we started like getting closer, and then things kind of went from there.
How long did you do long distance relationship before you made the move in?
It's like it's like people ask us like, oh, like how long you've been together? We don't really know what our anniversary date is the problem. It's like one of those things we just kind of like slide into it. Yeah.
Okay.
And you're like, oh, like we talk every day.
Right.
Like beginning of the morning till we fall asleep. And we started having what we were joking as date nights. On Tuesdays, we just like watch like through a rabbit room, like watch like something on Amazon or Netflix or whatever, and then the joke went away. It just became date night for us.
Okay,
like oh, I guess we're dating. So I would say though, it was like 4 or 5 months, maybe somewhere around there.
Okay,
so like again, like probably not long enough. Is the real answer there?
You know, normally I would say sure, maybe, but I met my girlfriend on Twitch as well, and she lived in like 10 hours away, and we dated long distance for 6 months, and then she moved in at the 6-month mark. So I really don't think it's all that crazy. Yeah,
like I think it's one of those things where it's like, okay, if we were both 6 or 7 years younger than we were, then yes, that's a recipe for disaster.
Right.
Don't do that. Unless you're going to publicize it for the world to watch, because I'll take pleasure in it.
Right.
But I think it's like one of those, like, you know, like she knows who she is. I know who I am. We're both pretty independent people. And so just like hey, like our general life situation didn't change. Like our routines changed a little bit, you moving here, but not a ton.
Sure.
And which is like a good fit. We kind of already knew it. So
okay. Awesome. Good Twitch love story. I'm all about it.
Talk to me in 2 years.
Ask me again in a little bit, okay? All right. Where are you from? Yeah, and if you just want to be state specific, you're more than welcome.
No, that's just fine. So I was born in Atlanta, Georgia. That is where I will always call home, like my hometown. But I moved to Florida as a kid, and I'm in like north central Florida area now. I will never call myself a Floridian though.
Yeah, please don't.
Florida man's real and they're everywhere here.
You don't want that label. A lot of stuff comes with that label.
Florida man, you hear a headline every now and then. I'm surrounded by them. Oh, it's like you know, like in like The Walking Dead, where they'll be like, we have to walk through that horde of zombies. We don't have a choice, and they just smear guts all over to like fit in and try to not stand out. That's life if you're like not an insane person, but you live in Florida.
Oh God! If you don't prefer to eat people instead of pizza. Yeah,
bath salts are the things that you do to relax, not inhale.
We used to have, or I don't know if they probably still do. There's a radio station here in Metro Detroit, and they have a segment called "Florida's Fucked Up," and they just read news headlines from Florida.
Yeah, that's again, it's just like, oh, that's Jeremy to me. Like he's just down the road. Yeah. Like that's not a different.
It's not a segment. It's real life, man.
No, I'm actually like I'm in a college town, so where I'm at isn't terrible.
Cool.
And you kind of have like a little bit of everybody everywhere, except for the people that don't live in town. They live in the surrounding towns. Those people are hill people.
Yeah.
And I don't like dealing with them much.
Like the hills have eyes people?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, fair. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite word?
Favorite word? Oh, I think actually my favorite word isn't technically in the dictionary. It's not a real word. But I'm gonna go with the joke answer is moist, just
Moist.
because the effect it has on people is great.
Is it really not in the dictionary? Or
No, moist is. Sorry, that was my joke answer.
Okay.
My actual
What? I've been lied to.
moist. I almost had you believe moist wasn't in the dictionary. That's amazing.
I had to question myself for a second. I'm not a smart man.
My favorite word that I've heard, and I've heard people use it enough, it's sonder. Sonder.
Okay.
And sonder is the idea and the realization that the world and people around you are living an equally complex, good and bad existence in which they are the main characters and you are the extra that's walking down the street that they don't know.
Okay.
And so it's just like that. It's just like that perspective that, like, like especially me, because I'm a highly egotistical person. Like I'm completely wrapped up in my own world and what's happening, and then like I just see that guy down the road, and every now and then I do try to think like, okay, what set of circumstances led you to being this person walking out of that frozen yogurt shop,
right,
at like 4 p.m. on a Tuesday? Like, what set of, not that I'm anything, like you could do that. Right. You're an adult, but like, how did you end up here? And what is happening in your life? And we just that never doesn't cross our minds very much because we're not built to do that.
Sure, no.
And if we did that with everybody, we would get nothing done because we would just be crippled by the perspective of it all.
Right. Everybody would just be sitting around thinking about the other person or other people.
Yeah. And not be able to like get anything done. Because eventually in like a business, you have to be mean to somebody.
Right.
And you can't do that if you know everything about them.
Exactly.
Or you really can't effectively. But that's a different story.
And being mean all the time just kills you on the inside.
For sure. Don't do that.
Yep.
Like, I'm not one of these people that is all #positivity. I make fun of that a lot.
Right.
There is a time and a place to be negative and to be a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
I probably do that too much, but that's a different podcast, I feel like.
I had you on here to fucking lay it all out, man. So
no, it's well, see, it all has to do with my mom abandoning me. I'm just kidding. But no, I think it's a really cool concept, and it's good every now and then to like, okay, like I think this person is an absolute moron. Everything they do is wrong, but why are they wrong all the time?
Right.
It's a nice thing to just do for yourself every now and then. Be thankful when you come back to yourself. And
then you're like, well, I should have just been a fucking dick. God damn it.
Because they're too dumb. They're not going to remember it. It's fun.
Well, speaking of paths crossing or coming close to crossing, just a little bit of information. So I actually found Daybol on Twitter. Somebody that I follow retweeted one of his Twitter videos. And usually when somebody retweets a Twitter video of somebody just talking in front of the camera, I usually click on it because there are so many charismatic, smart, and knowledgeable people, especially in the Twitch world, that usually have something good to say. Because the people who tweet out, play what you want and follow your dreams, usually write it in text and don't record themselves saying it. So whenever somebody has, the balls to throw it up on video, I usually click. And after about the third or fourth video that somebody retweeted of yours, I was like, okay, this guy's got it going on. I'm going to drop him a follow and see what it's about. And then probably not even a week or so later, he tweets something along the lines of talking about the new Apple iPhone release and how he misses talking about tech. And at the time, I was feeling super fired up about technology as well. I'm like, you know what? Let's just fucking have him on the podcast and we'll just shoot the shit. And that's how we're here now. Yeah, it made me happy that's like somebody else, because so the other thing is like I wanted to be a tech blogger for a long time before Twitch existed, before I found it or anything. Like that was the thing that I wanted to do. And I feel like in this industry, for some reason, the only tech people care about is whatever Elgato is putting out, which no shade. Good job, Elgato. Right. Hardcore, excellent branding. But like, hey, phones are cool. Right. Phones are still sweet. Like graphic cards are boring. I'm sorry. They do really neato things, but they're boring as hell. And when people try to make them more exciting, it just makes it worse. Right. Like I don't need my graphics card to look like a Decepticon. Just make it work well.
And
And cool well.
Like, yeah, like function. But my phone, hey, that's sexy, and we can do neato things with that. So let's do that more. And so it made me happy that like there were a few people that were actually like responding and not just being and was better.
Oh.
Yeah, I know it is sometimes. It is sometimes, sure.
Yep.
No one cares.
Right, exactly. Nobody fucking cares.
I used to be that guy.
Me too.
It's so awful being that. Like, it's so much better just being like, oh no, I like this, and that's all that matters.
Yep. I still have I think it's like a 20 or 25 post thread of me getting in an argument with somebody else when I was the Android guy and they were the Apple guy. And it is so embarrassing. I will never let it see the light of day, but I keep it around. You know, I might get it like tattooed on my chest one of these days so I can never forget.
Like, I'm feeling real good about myself.
Right.
That's that problem solved.
Well, we're gonna talk some tech in a little bit. Yes. What's your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
Fuck?
It's a try. Here's the thing. I say that cunt is the last real curse word because it's the only non-racist, non-homophobic like curse word that still has an impact on Americans.
Yes.
But there's just something about a good fuck.
Yes.
It's the perfect. It's not even just the, you know, when you write it, it's got a lot of lines out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of attacks you. When you say it, and when you say it well, you have that buildup, that tension. Is he going to say frick? Is he going to say something else? And then fuck. Just,
yeah.
Like, and yelling fuck at someone, like it works. But like the exasperated, just, you know what, dude? Fuck you. It's just, it's cathartic. It's therapeutic. It's just so good. Yeah. And people get actually like offended by cunt sometimes. Like my girlfriend does not like that word. So I can't use it with her. But a fuck is just, a fuck is eternal.
Fuck's a fuck. My favorite part about this question is because there's only so many answers to this question, but my interest is always in the explanation of why their swear word is their favorite swear word, and you fucking nailed it.
Yes.
You fucking nailed it, brother.
Am I winning? This is a competition, right? Yeah. I get to win. Okay, good.
Well, what other profession, other than the one that you have tried, that you are currently pursuing, or then one you've already tried, would you pursue if you weren't doing anything now?
Back in the day, I was close to majoring in, and I've always been told I'd be a good lawyer, because I don't believe in souls, and I can argue well from almost any position. And I think that I could convince. Like, the problem is, so like law is mostly boring.
Yes.
Almost all law is super boring. And so I'd want to kill myself. So I couldn't do like business law. I couldn't do like state law or family law because I grew up going through family law and no, thank you, I'm done. I served my time there. So all I could do is criminal law. And that sounds amazing. But I couldn't also lie. Like I couldn't blatantly lie to people or like purposely use the facts wrongly. Like I'm highly rational, so I could only be a defense or a prosecutor.
Okay.
And because I could never defend someone that I thought was guilty.
Right.
Which also means that I wouldn't make very much money then.
What kind of conscience do you have to have in order to do that? Non-existent, right?
No, I don't think so. I think like there's actually some really good documentaries that will show you good defense attorneys that are like taking cases where, their client, they really actually do believe is innocent, so they can easily do it.
Okay.
But they'll look at ones and say, it's not even just about proving innocence necessary, right? So let's say it's a murder charge, but it shouldn't be a murder charge. It should be a manslaughter charge. They didn't plan on this. This isn't vindictive. This was a crime of passion. So you're like, look, yes, he killed someone, and we can't dispute that. There should be punishment, but the punishment should be different if it was like I'm going to kill this person and then hide it, as opposed to I ran over this person in my car. Right. And it wasn't planned.
It's actually something I completely forgot about is that kind of stuff.
And then you have the people that are like, look, like, yeah, my client's guilty. It's the right charge, but everyone deserves a good defense.
Sure.
And so there's an even higher moral like it's a macro moral as opposed to the micro about the situation moral. That's like, look, yeah, he may be guilty and wrong, but he deserves a good defense for his actions.
Sure.
So someone needs to give it. Why not me?
Okay.
But I couldn't do that because I would hate myself.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely not.
It definitely would take a certain type of person to be able to pull that off and still live a normal life. And
they're probably scumbags.
Probably.
Most of them. Let's just go ahead and make that blanket statement.
Right. We'll throw that out there. Describe your perfect Sunday morning.
Perfect Sunday morning. Oh man. So we foster dogs through our local shelter, one of them. And so Sunday mornings are actually a little bit rough sometimes because if I particularly love a dog that we have, it involves bringing them to potentially go get adopted. So it's this hellish nightmare of like, this may be the last time I see this dog, or I'm going to see them for 6 more days and I don't know.
Oh no.
Yeah. Fostering's hard, but it's good. Like, it's worthwhile. I love doing it. So I think a good Sunday morning is when we have dogs, but we don't have an adoption event, so I don't have to take them in the morning.
Okay.
Nice cup of coffee, biscuits and gravy.
Yes.
Because that's the greatest food on earth. And I would say just a nice chill, like maybe have a little bit of music playing, just like with the girlfriend, animals behaving, just like on my phone scrolling through Twitter or Reddit or whatever like that, like showing each other funny stuff and just relaxing.
Okay.
Before doing whatever.
What is the most expensive piece of equipment that you have lost to a foster dog?
Weirdly, none.
Really?
Yeah. We work on training them.
Okay.
So that they're better. Like a lot of we have puppies right now, and that's like rare that we have puppies very much. Usually want older dogs. So usually like they're used to being in a house.
Okay.
And we work on training them. But we also have like a crate, like we're crate training them. So they're in a crate a decent amount of the day. Just to get them used to doing that. And it's a good thing ultimately for them. But yeah, I don't think I've lost really anything. My patience, plenty of times.
Yeah.
But that's about it. It doesn't take very much for me to lose that. So that's fine.
Well, I'm actually impressed. That's actually pretty good for somebody who has a constant rotation of new animals in the house.
We're lucky, but we've been pretty lucky so far. There's only been like one dog that was crazy, but he didn't care about things. He only wanted to be crazy with people. So it's fine.
Got it. Okay. What is your biggest pet peeve?
Dumb people. Does that count?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, hang on. We'll go with like one of those specific things that really bothers me. I assume that people that do not properly capitalize their name when entering it into things don't have respect for themselves.
That is deep.
If you lowercase your first and last name when you are filling in your name in a form, unless you were born with all lowercase names, I automatically like you less.
Wow.
I have no idea why.
Don't look at the stream overlay where your name is listed because
it's fine. It's fine. Because I am 100% okay with it. Let's just call it branding and style.
Interesting.
Yeah, because here's my thing is, like, to me, it feels like you don't care about yourself.
Okay.
That's what that looks like to me. Because you don't care enough to put in maybe the little extra effort of holding the shift key or just writing the capitalized letter.
What would you say if I told you that? Now, you can be 100% honest. I love blunt honesty. What would you say if I told you that I write in all capitals?
All capitals is just as lazy but louder. And stop it.
So the reasoning behind that, now, when I have to figure out, when I have to fill out an official form, the letters that need to be capitalized, they're just double XL. So like the first letter is always just larger than the other letters.
Oh my, that's horrible.
Right.
What are you doing?
So when
stop this immediately.
In high school, I took 2 years of architecture where the norm is to write in all capitals. And so I write in all capitals and only in downstrokes. So it's actually the opposite of lazy because it takes twice as much work to write.
That's Okay, but here's the thing. Here's what I need you to do from now on.
Okay.
Whenever you write your name, just in parentheses next to it, like, I'm an architect. There's a reason I'm like this.
I'm not lazy. Asterisk.
Like, it's actually much harder. You should Google it.
Then I'd have a really long name all the time.
But I wouldn't think you disrespect yourself.
Right.
So,
Wait, even if it's all caps?
I think, well, no, if it's all caps, it's just like, yeah, I get it. It's Nick. Just leave me, like, calm down about it, all right?
Okay, fair. I'll take that. All right. Burp or fart?
I burp much more than I fart.
Okay, that was a real deep inhale through the nose to be choosing.
There's a lot of
burp.
thought that I'm having here. But I think, it really, it's such, like, pure comedy. I don't know which one's funnier. Like, I can't even make a determination.
Right.
Like, sometimes I feel like burps are more socially permissible, so you can get away with them a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes a nice, like, even like a nice silent fart, and then you continue that conversation, and they're talking, and then they're just, did you?
A little wincing, a little.
And just like a little. I'm sorry, did you? I feel like I'm leaning towards burps a little bit more. Back in high school, I was a fart boy.
Okay.
That's for sure.
I feel like it's such an unfair battle because when you fart near somebody, you hear them say, "You're gonna get your shit particles all over me." But whenever somebody burps, where you physically insert things into your mouth, nobody ever says, "You're gonna get food particles all over me."
I'm sorry. Are you gotten that a lot? I farted near a ton of people that did and did not like me both. And I've never once heard someone say you're going to get poop particles. It's more just like, that's gross.
Right, but if you were to ask somebody why it's gross, do you think that would be an answer?
Because it smells bad.
And because the poop particles are coming out your poopy.
I've never gotten that. That makes no logical sense. They're in my pants now.
How many times have you given somebody a cup of soup?
I can maybe 2 or 3. That's
Not the edible kind.
I don't even know what's happening.
That is when you fart into your hand and you cup it and you throw it into somebody's face.
Oh no, I would never do that. I would literally just bend over in their direction.
So maybe that's why people always complain about poop particles to me, because I'm throwing them in their face.
That is, now here's the thing. The next time you have someone say this though, here's what you tell them. You're like, no, if I burped at you, I would be throwing poop particles, because no matter what you do, if you keep your toilet brush in your bathroom, fecal matter will get down on it. And I brush my teeth and burp out from there. And they're like, what if I put a cap on it? And I say, it doesn't matter. Watch some goddamn Mythbusters.
Exactly. It really does not matter. Fair enough. Fair question.
So you're doing them a favor with poop particles. Tell them that they should be thanking you.
Roger, I'll do that. If you could be the opposite sex for one day, what's the first thing you'd do?
I'm sorry, my headphones broke up just there. What was that?
If you could be the opposite sex for one day, what is the first thing that you do?
Masturbate.
My man. Sun chips, harvest cheddar, garden salsa, or neither?
None. Get out of here with those garbage level chips.
Whoa! What?
Right,
what's your favorite type of chip?
If I were to have to choose like a chip in a bag type situation. So actually, I used to do bracket streams where we would have like brackets of things and break them down for way too long. We did chips as one of them. I think my winner was Puffy Cheetos.
Okay. As long as you weren't about to say like Better Made.
I don't even know what that is. I've never heard of that.
It's a Detroit-based chips company. They're spread kind of around the Northeast and Midwest, or Mid-East, this fucking area around Michigan. So I don't know how far down south they're made.
Yeah. I would say if we're going with a general potato chip, I would just take a Ruffles.
Okay.
Get a nice crunch.
I can get down with that. I've never heard anybody say none.
Well, the other thing is, again, same thing with the all caps name. We get it. Like your sun chips, your bag doesn't have to be that loud. Calm down.
Even like the biodegradable bags are ridiculously loud for some reason. Yeah.
Like, just stop. Like, you're doing that on purpose. We get it.
All right. If you could bathe in anything other than water and be completely clean afterwards, what would you choose?
Queso. Done.
Queso.
Because then you have a giant bathtub of queso.
Okay, my man. What keyboard and mouse do you use?
I'm currently using a Logitech mechanical keyboard G710 Plus that I was given for free.
Nice.
And a Razer mouse that I desperately need to replace, but I keep forgetting.
Okay, fair. What's the craziest shit to happen to you on Twitch?
Happened to me or that I did?
Either.
Those are different questions.
You choose whichever one makes you look cooler.
Makes me look... Oh. The crazy things I do on Twitch I don't think make me look cool.
Well, let's say craziest thing that happened to you while you've been streaming.
Okay. Oh man, this is a hard one. All right, so let me jog my brain juices here. Big things that I've done. I would say one of the crazier things that I did was record a 14-minute long loop of me staring at camera, and it did an entire stream where I was pretending to test a telepathic webcam that read my mind, played the loop over and over, and just responded to people with a speech to text or text to speech thing, as if it was reading my mind. I did 2 hours or so of that.
That is some fucking dedication. Good Lord.
Yeah. Craziest thing that happened to me. Oh man, the only thing I can think of is like somebody that does like really big donation type things. I feel like that's like a very shitty thing to say. But like, I did almost throw up on stream as a result of that, actually.
Wow. It affected you that much.
So not that. What they made me do, which was a handful of Bean Boozled.
Oh my God. Well, fuck.
Yeah, and I like had to like go off stream for a second to compose myself because it was about to just spew everywhere.
I don't think saying that a big donation or a big tip rather is something that should be looked down upon. I mean,
I don't think so either. I think it's a really lame answer.
No, I don't think it's lame at all. The fact, like, because when you hear somebody tell a story like that, it's like, yeah, I got a $500 tip from somebody. It's like, holy shit, you did something that was worth $500 to somebody. Yeah. And that is something to be very, very proud of. Yes,
and I would tell everybody else that.
Except yourself.
I'll never accept it.
All right, second to last question. What is your current feelings towards the state of Twitch as of now?
So much wasted potential.
On the platform side, on the streamer side, universal?
Yes. I think that the platform has so much opportunity to do so many, first off, creatively amazing things, and secondly, socially amazing things. Mm-hmm. To actually shout out the Washington Post real quick, they've started streaming on Twitch, doing like the news conferences, and like the Kavanaugh hearings. And what's amazing is they've managed to not only bring politics to Twitch in a way that, like, I actually used to do a news show, like when IRL first came out, and I could never get people to pay attention. That's not me saying Twitch wasn't good. I failed. Got too angry too often. But they're actually cultivating a really great community. Their chat is like half jokes and funny ones, and then half actually really compelling discussion and questions, which I find incredible because nobody thought it was going to be like that.
No.
So I think there's a lot of opportunity for good stuff there. If you haven't checked out the Washington Post when they're live, you need to. Also, their branding is incredible. They basically took like old school presidential campaign posters and stuff and put them onto like SNES and Genesis cartridges.
Okay.
It looks so cool. Anyway, and then I think creatively, I think there's people that are pushing the boundaries of what we know as Twitch. I think Kit Boga is a fantastic example.
Yes.
You don't know him. He does scam baiting. He calls like the Microsoft scam things, and literally it's the opposite of a speedrun. He uses live split, which is what speedrunners use, negatively to add time, to waste as much time of theirs as possible.
Yep.
while also doing some actual education in what to do with protecting yourself and like the importance of like, hey, like you need to make sure your family is protected because the reason he's doing it is because his grandma got scammed.
Genius show, and he has
He's
blown
incredible.
up.
Yep. I've talked to him a couple times, and like right before he really started blowing up, and I was just like, I cannot think of somebody that is more deserving of popularity than him. And I want more of that. I mean, I think like the Twitch creative space obviously is doing a bunch of really cool things.
Wait, what's creative? What is this creative you're speaking of?
Oh my god, you're gonna get me in trouble. You know that, right?
So the other name for this podcast is it's either Crocs and Hot Tangents, or there was another name I can't really remember. We're basically known for just flying off the fucking handle at any given moment. So if you feel passionate enough to just take a shit on a topic, you're more than welcome.
Okay. Twitch Creative is some of the best broadcasters on the channel or on the platform. Just put that out there real quick. However, I have not once had a single Twitch Creative streamer explain a good, solid answer to why creative should be getting extra buttons associated with it, extra promotion that any other item in the directory doesn't get. And the answer usually is, well, they used to do it. Yes, because it was new. And unfortunately, I know some about economics, not any super useful stuff, just real surface level stuff. And there is such a thing as supply and demand. Yes, maybe Twitch as a whole, a lot of the user base doesn't know that these things exist, but many of them do, and they just don't watch. Because while, yes, Twitch is not a video game site anymore, it is not just about video games, it's just mostly about video games. And until they make major UI overhauls and complete changes in its culture, it will continue to be mostly a gaming site. And that means that IRL and podcasts like this one and all that kind of stuff and creative will all take a back seat.
Yep.
Gaming will continue to come first because that's how they're getting success.
Yep.
I love Twitch Creative. I want them almost all to be successful and be good because they are great and they're so talented. And I'm an idiot who can't do any of the things that they do. But also, stop complaining, Jesus Christ.
So when you say, what were you talking about when you were talking about the buttons to diversify creative? Do you mean like categories to search by? Like search creative?
So it used to be in the old layout. Well, first off, for a little while, when they first officially introduced creative, at the very top of Twitch, that purple bar, there was a creative button. It brought you just to the creative page.
Right.
And that helped a lot. Then there was, at the top of the directory, there was like a sorting button to change it by games to channels. And then there was one just for creative that, again, brought you. It used to be on the left-hand side. There was a bunch of places where you could click to get to the creative directory because they wanted to draw attention to it. And it worked. It threw a lot of attention to it. And it was really big when it first officially launched. And then like everything else, it kind of calmed down over time. And this is where we are now. Now there's a bunch of different channels along with IRL. And I think there is an argument to be made where calling one art, but the others is like in the crafts and hobbies, like how do you determine what's art? The whole point of art that is subjective and nobody can determine. Like when there's a giant painting that's literally just a red circle that sells for millions of dollars, like I wouldn't call that art. I call that a red fucking circle.
Right.
But
you don't know what you're talking about.
I'm an uneducated moron to some guy who spent millions of dollars. And you could say, well, that's just justification for his complete lack of understanding and value and money. True. But the point is he still views it as art. And so I have a hard time saying that. Like, and then again, Kit Bogue is another one. He has to be in just chatting, which actually doesn't make sense for what he's doing.
Right. Yeah.
But he doesn't have a choice. That's the best directory for him to be in because he's doing almost a performance art. And I think that, you know, when we have YouTubers that do weird, interesting stuff and they want to move to Twitch, there's not going to be a good place for them. Right. IRL had many problems. It wasn't great, but it did work for that. but a lot of people are, they're upset literally even on the names. Like I got one that's like, "Hey, you can't call it a craft. It's not a craft." I'm like, it literally is a craft.
I did
Like,
see.
it literally is.
Yeah, I saw a lot of mumbles about that.
Like those people need to calm down because like it literally is a craft and that is a skill that you work on and perfect over time.
Mhm.
You may be taking the connotation of a small child's craft, but guess what? It's also a craft. That's just the beginning dumb toddler stage of the craft that you work on to become the master.
Right.
And like, I'm going to be honest with you guys. If the literal name of a directory that your average everyday person isn't going to be affected by that much is what breaks your channel, that's not really what's breaking your channel. And your channel is looking for a reason to fall apart.
Exactly. If it's just like how at the end of the day, our names don't fucking matter at all.
Exactly.
It's just a label.
Uh-huh.
Shit, I had a
Please
question.
Again, creative people, I love you. You're great. I want nothing but success for you. And I actually work to help with that.
Do you think, because from what I've noticed lately is that the just chatting is now just the IRL section. That seems to be where everybody has started flocking to replace IRL.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And the general IRL chat audience is there. And that's where all just the people that honestly don't need to procreate and we all be better for it exist.
Yep. And I'm probably one of those people, which is totally why I'm not having kids. So I can't exist in those spaces. All right. Final question. If you had to pick one moment in your life that defined who you are today, what moment would you choose?
Whatever I'm about to do next.
Still,
I just don't think that we can define us by that. If I had to really pick one, probably the time that I dropped a little bit of food and was like, yeah, but I really want it. And ate it anyway.
And ate it. Well, if you could, to simplify the question, if you could choose maybe one event that started you on the path that you are now, like what made you choose left over right when you maybe started going down the path that you are now with the career choices, with Twitch, anything of that sort? That's
where the girl was. Sadly, not a joke.
Oh, did I just hear a cute little squeal?
Yeah,
or was that the dog?
That was some puppy.
Oh, I thought that was the girlfriend
sorry.
like wincing in the corner because it's like, oh.
I doubt it. She's streaming. She's doing something else. I don't know. But no, I think if I had it, I guess let's just say that would kind of sum up maybe this current chapter of my life that I'm working on. I would say, I don't know, pick a time being at like there's a marketing conference in New York City that I was at a few months ago and the year before that. Just pick a moment there, just talking about Twitch and advertising and money and business and the future of Twitch and live streaming content on the internet to people that had no fucking clue that any of this existed. We'll pick that.
That to me is still like, even in today's age with Fortnite, it's starting to get to the point where less and less people don't know what Twitch is.
Yep. And honestly, so I went there last year when like my company we literally had just become the company and we went, and next to nobody. I talked to probably over 100 people easily over the course of a few days, and 2 or 3 people was like, "Oh, is that's the video game thing that my son watches?" Like that, they didn't know what it was. They know they'd seen the name, knew video games, and knew their kid. That was it. This year, it was, "Oh, that's the Ninja Drake thing?"
Oh shit! Yeah.
I was like, yes, it was. Here's the thing: if ever I have the opportunity to be like near Ninja at like a bar or something like that, he's not paying for his drinks.
No,
I'll buy his drinks.
Right.
Because our email blew up the day after that happened from people that we had been trying to get in contact with, trying to talk to that we wouldn't get the time of day with, and then suddenly the internet explodes, and like, wait a minute, I've heard that name before.
I know Draki and the Ninjas.
It's like, this seizure website run by Amazon sounds interesting. Let's look into it. And so like that was a watershed moment.
Yeah.
So all right, let's give it the defining moment is me watching that and like trying to express to people, because that night there was a ton of people that were streamers that were like, why does everybody care? Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what you don't understand is that if you don't quit and you end up making a living off of Twitch, you owe Ninja for that happening.
Absolutely.
And it may be 6 or 7 steps removed, but he pushed that timeline up a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody now making money from sponsors that have not been advertising on Twitch for the last 2 years, you can thank Ninja.
Yep.
That's him doing that for you.
Did you go to TwitchCon last year?
I did.
Okay, so you know the Bud Light booth?
I didn't see that personally, but I know it was there.
So there was a tiny little, like, it was one of those, it was a booth, but it was just like a step up stage that was the Bud Light booth, and it was like illuminated floor. And it was crazy because at the time we didn't think anything of it. Like, we were sitting there and Ninja and his brother and one other friend were just sitting there in the booth, just hanging out by themselves and just drinking. And after Ninja blew up, my girlfriend brought it up to me, is like, we were standing within 3 feet of Ninja at the Bud Light booth last year. That will never happen again. Never 100%. Fucking happen. And it's just crazy how much can change. Not only for like the space in general, but how much can change for that person in such a short amount of time. And it was just crazy. And I remember thinking like, man, I don't really watch him, but I wanted to say, like, I wanted to go up to him and tell him that I hated him for the longest time, but that his stream in the last couple months has changed me as a viewer, and that I actually enjoyed him now. And I was like, I don't think anybody wants to hear that from like, he's just trying to have a beer. And so I never did it. And now I kind of wish I could, but you know.
Well, I think you might have wished that you had gone and talked to him, but maybe rethink the words.
Right. See, but
like, hey, I used to hate you, asshole.
That's exactly what I would say. Like, you know, look, I'm gonna be honest, dude. For a while, I thought you were a sociopath. I thought you were crazy, and I thought you treated people like shit. And I hated your stream. But now I kind of like you. Here's my business card.
Yeah, like, want to connect? Like, yeah,
sure, man.
Yeah. I remember last year at TwitchCon, I was just like walking to try to find the information booth for something. And I'm a Cutie Pie. If you don't know, he's the biggest League of Legends streamer. Well, now that Tyler 1's back, arguable.
He needs to change his name to Never Not Smiling, because he is literally never not smiling.
He always is. And so I was floored because I'm a Cutie Pie, one of the largest streamers on the site. He's literally standing in front of the front entryway just to say hi to people by himself.
Wow.
Didn't have a handler, nothing. And like at various times, like I'm watching this for like 10, 15 minutes while I'm waiting in line for something. And at times he's kind of swarmed. But other times it's like 3 or 4 people. And I go up and talk to him. I'm like, what you're doing here is insane, first off. But secondly, really fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's super cool. And I got a picture with him. Like, I only watch the stream a little bit. I'm not big in the league anymore. That's what kind of got me into Twitch a lot. You know, and I just remember being floored by that. And like, Ninja that would be dangerous for Ninja to do.
That couldn't happen.
Yeah. So you will not ever have that happen again. And right now, I would say that maybe only Doc, Ninja, and Shroud are the 3 people in that position. Obviously, there's a lot of other people that are doing like stupidly good. But I think those are the 3 that are like, hey, it probably wouldn't be a safe idea for you to do this.
Right, to be out in the open.
Yeah, just randomly to say hi to people. But I think that, you know, this year we have those 3 or 5 or however many it is. Next year, it's going to be 20 people are going to be in that position.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to keep going. Like YouTube, you can think of easily 100 people that would be like that.
Oh, just absolutely swarmed, not be able to go out anywhere.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So I think we're going to see that happen at TwitchCon soon.
Okay. Last question that's not necessarily part of the interview, but just because I'm genuinely curious, like the reason I like having people on the show is just I like learning about people and their history. How did you get started on Twitch?
The very first time I saw Twitch, I was unemployed many years ago.
Holla!
It was, by the way, the best 6 months of my life on that unemployment. Also, the worst. And never want to do it again. So anyway, I was on Reddit in the morning when I woke up. Morning was 2 p.m. Or something like that. And r/gaming had a post that like, this guy is going to beat Mario 64 with all 120 stars in 4 hours. Like whatever the record was at that time. It was Siglemic. And I was like, what? And it was SGDQ.
Oh, okay.
Never heard of that.
Oh, what a great time to get involved.
Yeah, like, and this was SGDQ 2011. So it's like the first, I'm pretty sure, like one of the first.
I don't know the history too well, but that's a long fucking time ago. That's all I know.
Yeah, so it's 2011, and I was like, okay, I'll watch that for 30 minutes while I'm waking up and start my day, and I watched the full 4 hours.
All of it.
I watched the whole thing. I love speedrunning, but speedrunning is what got me into Twitch.
Okay.
But I was also a really big fan of the League of Legends pro scene, which was also just created then, the LCS. And I was always watching replays on YouTube. And then I found out they've streamed them live on Twitch. Like, oh, cool! I can use this. This seems neat. And I started watching League streamers and started going from there. But I was just a casual viewer. I streamed like once or twice. I was like, I don't really understand this, and stopped. Huge regret, by the way. And 2-3 years later, maybe even more, I started working in this other place. Very cool software company. And basically we're told like, hey, we don't really care what you do when you're like waiting for work to come in. So I was watching Twitch. And one of my coworkers, I know, fun while that lasted. So one of my coworkers had never heard of it. And this guy was just loud. He was just fucking personality always. And I'm like, what are you doing? But he was a really cool guy. I don't know if you know Daniel the Demon. But he is a partner broadcaster who's making his living now on Twitch. He moved to the Pacific Northwest. I learned Twitch with him.
Okay.
Built up his stream. I guess you would call me his community manager, but nobody knew what a community manager really was in the streaming world back then.
Right.
So, and I wouldn't call myself a community manager because I don't have the patience to deal with what they actually do. But like, you know, we learned Twitch, we learned what worked, learned what didn't work, game choice. We learned all of that the hard way together. And then eventually, you know, just like, hey, like, you're fine. I'm always going to be there to help you in what you need, but I want to go do my stuff now because it's my turn to take what I've learned and try to do this my way. And here I am 3 years later.
Just like that.
Yep.
Good shit. Well, that's it for the interview. Thank you very much for complying and donating that blood sample.
Yeah, you're most welcome. Please just let me know the results of your analysis.
All right. Well, the first thing I want to jump into is technology. So I know the most recent thing that I saw you talk about on Twitter was the release of the newest iPhones. A couple different ones.
Worst name iPhones ever.
Oh my God. I joke that I'm an Apple sheep, but I'm like, if you were to break it down into technical terms, I wouldn't call it a sheep. I would just say I'm just a very avid user of the ecosystem. Yeah. I love the products. I love using them every day, but I'm not blind to the stupid shit that they pull all the time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They're just things that you put up with, you know, when you love something. It's like everybody has everybody has a significant other that does something that they just absolutely cannot stand. Just fucking hate it. But
call those parents.
Exactly. But when you go into the bedroom and they're naked and they say, fuck me,
we don't call those parents. Never mind. That joke stopped working.
Some people might, but we'll leave that up to them. We'll leave it up to them, okay?
And the law. Don't do that. Anyway.
It's legal somewhere. It's 5 p.m. in some state.
Jesus Christ. So getting us, dear God, back on topic of non-incest. All companies are horrible and don't care about you and would happily sell you into slavery if it earned them a buck.
Right.
But they also happen to make really dope products. So you can kind of forgive them sometimes.
Exactly. That doesn't make us sheep, does it? What's in between nothing and a sheep?
It makes us self-aware sheep. We're sheep that realize that we're maybe a little bit sheep. And if we really needed to, if we get too close to the bad slaughterhouse, we'll like work to escape. But we're still headed in that direction. Just hope that it like gets closed down or like it's a lunch break time for the workers by the time we get there.
Okay. So we're aware that we're going to get grinded into a million pieces, but we might go along with it still.
Yeah.
As long as we...
Well, I mean... Okay, we're sheep that also maybe realize that ultimately the universe will end in a heat death no matter what you do. So what does it matter if you meet oblivion beforehand?
And our
nihilistic sheep.
And our coat will also be used to warm future generations. That's a sheep, right? Not...
Hopefully, yeah, I'm sure. Hopefully Rihanna wears it or something. I don't know.
Yes. It can be protective from...
Yeah.
Not going to go there. Okay, so what was your what was your initial reaction when we can kind of just specifically talk about the phone that you're thinking about getting, because like there's so many other statements and controversies regarding the the 10R. What phone do you have now, and what has been like your thought process when you've been thinking about upgrading either to the Android platform or within the sheep phone?
So I'm on an iPhone 10. I very much like my iPhone 10. It's not my favorite iPhone I've ever used, but it is the best one right now. So
what is?
I really like it. The best iPhone, there's two. The iPhone 5 was honestly one of the most beautiful, brilliant smartphone designs of all time. I remember the first time I took it out of the box after waiting overnight. And I thought that I had been given a defective one that didn't have a battery in it, because there's no way a phone was that light, especially not a metal one.
Right.
It was mind-blowing. That design was, to this day, just one of the most gorgeous pieces of hardware I've ever touched.
Did you try and like cut anything with that phone? Because I remember picking my 5S out the first time and being like, these edges are borderline too sharp.
Not with the iPhone 5. Did do that with the Palm Pre, because it was essentially made to do that. I cut cheese with it.
Dude, I had the... Oh, fuck. It was the Sprint specific Palm phone that had a full keyboard with the smallest little buttons. Was that the Pre?
Palm Pre. That was the Pre. Yeah.
Let me Google.
That was one of my... Go ahead. I'm right about this, because the Palm Pre to this day is still one of my favorite phones of all time.
Yours was a slide out. Mine was not a slide out.
Oh, so yours was one of the Palm Centros then?
No, Google, do not.
Or did you have the Palm Pixie?
It was a Centro. It wasn't indeed a Centro. Okay. Yeah. Fuck that
real
phone,
quick,
man.
I worked in cell phone sales for many years.
Okay.
Back in the like late 2000s.
Okay.
So I couldn't tell you all the phones now, but for probably 2.5 years after Android came out, I could name every single US released Android phone on every carrier, because I was a nerd.
Did you ever think Palm was going to take over?
I knew for sure the Palm Pre was what was going to do it.
Really?
Palm Pre was the most glorious, amazing thing in the world. And I still stand by it. It's one of the best UIs I've ever used. It's just that the rest of it kind of sucked, and it didn't live up to almost any of the things that they said it was going to do.
Do you remember how familiar are you with Windows OS based phones, like the older ones?
Oh man, yeah, fairly.
Okay. Do you remember a Windows, I think it was Windows Mobile 6.0. It was a Verizon phone. It was a touchscreen and a T9 pad on the front with a slide out keyboard.
Yes. What was this called? Because I wanted it.
I believe it was a Samsung SCH model. Yes!
That was a lot.
I fucking found it! Okay, it is the SCH L760. So it had a T9 numpad on the outside, but also had a landscape slide out keyboard. To this day, that is my favorite fucking phone I've ever had because I could T9 type like a boss, dude. Like I was getting paid. Don't even have to fucking look. But the operating system was atrocious.
So for me, it was similar, right? I did love, like, T9 was good, but to me, the best, like, style of that was actually on the BlackBerry Pearls.
Okay.
Which wasn't quite T9. Instead of having 3 rows of, like, 3 keys and a 0, it was 4 keys in it. And each button was, like, 2 letters.
Okay.
It was the most insane thing. And when you first start using it, it is impossible to type on.
I don't think I remember that.
Then something clicks. And it is the most, because it's slightly bigger than T9. And like certain words are much easier. Like, you don't have to like triple press certain words, like with certain numbers. You never had to do that, basically.
Okay.
You're only double pressing or single pressing every button for the most part.
Okay.
And it was this magical, it was perfection. But the problem is it was a smaller phone. So as phones started being able to do more on the internet, the smaller screen was terrible.
Right.
And it made no sense to do all these other things with a bigger screen, but fit a smaller keyboard on there.
Mm-hmm.
So the full keyboard was the thing.
Yep.
I was actually going through my closet, cleaning some stuff out, and I found some of my old phones. I got rid of most of my old phones. But the ones that I kept were, I have a Palm Pre Plus that I kept because I just love the Pre so much. I have my Motorola Droid, which was the first Verizon Android phone.
So, man. The little ball, that little trackball.
I got kicked out of an AT&T store because of. So Verizon, I think it was, or maybe it's Android Authority, had this contest.
Okay.
To prove how much you wanted a Motorola Droid, you had to submit a video. So I had my brother come in. At this point, the AT&T only had the iPhone.
Okay.
Like nobody else had it.
That's right.
Time.
That 2G network.
And Verizon was getting the Droid, which was like the end-all be-all phone at the time. And so I happened to work at a cell phone store. We had a standee, like this big old cardboard thing with the Motorola Droid on it that I stole for the day and wore it into an AT&T store and was asking questions about the iPhone and had my brother filming the whole time. And they kicked me out because I was being obnoxious, and they're like, no filming here. You need to go now immediately.
Oh, my Lord.
Didn't win.
Of course not.
but yeah, it was straight up. That was, I think, the Droid was maybe my most favorite phone of all time.
Okay.
It is now missing many keys when it slides out. It has a slide keyboard and a D-pad, which was great for emulators.
Right. I forgot about that. Okay.
Game Boy Advance emulators were the best on that.
Yes.
Yeah, that was it. And then so what did I say? Oh, so the other iPhone was the best iPhone that I used. So after the 5 was the 8 Plus. Just because it's so big, powerful, camera was fantastic. And at that point, Samsung wasn't really competing that much on camera.
Did you have the 5 and then wait to upgrade until the 8 Plus?
Oh no.
Okay.
I get a new phone every year.
Got it.
So I had some iterations. I didn't have all of them because I switched back and forth between Android and iOS every 2-3 years. So I went from the 8, or from I think I went from the 7 Plus to the Note 7. And then those started blowing up.
Did yours?
I did not, fortunately. Okay. But I was really pissed because I only had it for 2 weeks and then that whole thing comes out. And I'm like, this is the best. The Note 7 still to this day is the best phone I've ever used.
Did they deactivate the phones?
Yeah, you can't use them.
Wow. Okay.
It was that much of a problem. It was that replicable that you could blow up this thing. And they were like really worried about, for, I think up until a year or so ago, you still had airlines saying if you have a Note 7, you can't come on this plane.
Wow. And they recovered. I mean, it seems to me that they've recovered just fine.
There was not a problem at all. And the Note 9 was really interesting to me. And that was basically the new iPhone announcement. I was like, it's either going to be a Note 9 or the new iPhone that's going to be announced.
Right.
And ultimately, I'm going to be going with the XS Max.
Okay.
Or the 10S Max. These are the worst named iPhones of all time. I'll tell you that right now. I've played with both now. I went and played with a 10. Hey, shut up. A 10s Max yesterday at Best Buy,
Okay.
and it's what the 8 Plus and the 7 Plus and all that all were, but it's all screen, and that's just amazing.
Do you think that there is a definite difference between the screen that you have on your 10 right now and the 10s?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wait. Well, the 10s by itself, no.
I'm sorry. The 10 to the 10s Max.
The Max, yeah. There's a thoroughly noticeable difference.
How well does your Face ID work?
I don't have many problems with it. The only times I have problems with it is like pitch black dark. Like even at night where there's some light, it still pick you up, which is pretty cool.
Right.
But yeah, I don't have any. And then also if I'm like in bed and I'm at like that bad angle and it thinks I have this like huge double chin, it doesn't recognize me for that.
Yep.
But that's really the only times I have problems with it. Like it otherwise is astonishingly good. I am excited for it to be a little bit faster.
Yeah.
But
I wish
it doesn't bother me that much.
I wish that I could say that I have the same experience, but my Face ID my Face ID really doesn't work as well as I'd like it to. And
Face ID is my favorite AC/DC cover band.
A lot of the times when I have my phone on the desk and I'm just looking down at it, it won't unlock. I always have to pick it up to look at it, or I just end up entering my passcode.
Or you have to see, this is where you get this little guy.
Is that a phone hammock?
It is a phone beach chair.
Oh my God. Is it meant for phones too?
Yeah. That's literally, it was some swag I picked up at a convention. It's literally made for this.
Wow.
And so I still have to crane my neck slightly. It's like just barely the wrong angle.
Okay.
But it's pretty damn close.
That's probably something I should look into, is maybe like a dock of some sort. But
yeah, it also fixes the problem of the bulge of the camera, which I really wish they would fix. But I'd rather take better pictures and deal with that than have a worse picture just to be able to get my phone flat.
Right.
It's a slight annoyance. It's worth it, but I would still one day love for them to just pull that back in.
This is going to be a two-part question. What is making you stay in the Apple ecosystem as far as your mobile device is concerned? And the second part is, what are the most like desirable things in the Android ecosystem that is swooning you to switch?
So honestly, one of the biggest things is not the phone itself. It's AirPods, which I think are probably my favorite piece of tech that I own at this point. They are, and like, it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, wireless headphones that could be like, I've used those before, they've been fine. I imagine Apple do it good. And then I use it, I'm like, these are the greatest things that have ever been created.
Yep.
They're just like, just being able to pop it in and then everything's on and works and it's great. I'm like, yes, this is amazing. There's definitely some room for improvement, but for like a Gen 1 product, it's incredible.
Yeah. And that was my first thought of, this is the first iteration.
Yeah, this is our first try.
For like one of the biggest complaints when they first hit the market was 4-hour battery life. That's nothing. But when you can put it in the case for 15 minutes and get an extra hour and a half of playtime, that's fucking nuts. Like out of probably the year plus that I've had this, I've never pulled my AirPods out of this case and had them been dead. They're just like,
I have, but only because I'm an idiot. So like, it's my fault.
Fair.
Like that's not on Apple. It's just, I haven't charged it all week.
Self-aware sheep.
Yeah, no, that's me. That's my problem. I would like to see the battery get better, obviously, sure, but like it definitely is one of those things where I'm like, only if I'm traveling do I need more than 4 straight hours.
Right.
And at that point, I also have over-the-ear cup headphones that are more comfortable for a longer time anyway. So I'm just going to go with those.
Yep.
But also when I'm traveling and I'm like, I just got the airplane and I'm in the terminal now. I don't want to wear giant cup headphones. I want just little earbuds or even one ear and it works. And it's just incredible.
Yep.
So that's a huge thing. And like, yes, you can pair those to Android phones, but it won't work as well. And it won't be painless. Android sucks with Bluetooth pairing. It just does. Even iPhones suck with Bluetooth pairing if you're doing traditional Bluetooth. Yeah. But the W1 chip, you don't have to worry about it. It just does it. And it's magical and it's amazing. The other thing that's really keeping me on iPhone is iMovie on mobile. All of my Twitter videos now I do on my phone completely. There's no porting it to the computer and then editing it there and then porting it back or uploading it. It's all done completely on my phone. iMovie, I would love it to be more powerful and do more, but for a basic kind of a thing like I'm gonna do, it's incredible. And Android doesn't have good video editing software that I'm aware of, at least as of a year or so ago when I last looked. They just don't. It all sucks. It's all like auto magical. So you just feed it clips and it throws them together and puts on cheesy, crappy music.
Right.
Like I can't rant upset about somebody and cut it up a bunch. I can't do that with that. And I need to be like, that's a need that I have.
Right.
And it's ridiculous and silly. I'll never forget when I was in cell phone sales, this girl I was talking to, she had an iPhone. She was thinking about going to an Android way, way back in the day where this next sentence won't make sense. And ultimately what kept her on her iPhone was that it had better emoji support.
Really?
Yeah. She liked everything else.
But just couldn't let go.
Emoji, she had to have her emoji. And I'm like, I was going to save her $40 a month on her bill plus get her a new phone that she loved. But the emojis, she couldn't live without. And I was like, pulling my hair out.
And now you've got the meme-emojis that take it to the next level.
Yeah, exactly. Which are creepy and horrible.
Very creepy. But I like doing things with my tongue, so it eases me.
So anyway, but like now I have that. And so that's a hugely important thing. And honestly, like Android's amazing because it's so powerful, it's so customizable, and you can do so much with it. My problem is you have to do so much to do that. Whereas on an iPhone, it's just like, yeah, you have less choices, less options, but all of them work great.
Yep.
And I rarely have to worry about battery life, which is still something that, like, even though the Note has a bigger battery, the battery life is similar. Although I think the Note 9 is a little bit different because it's like just a monster battery.
Yeah, doesn't it have like two batteries? Like one is one way and one is the other way, and they actually just work. I thought it had like a portrait battery
what they had to do.
and a landscape battery, or it's just one in an L shape. It's fucking massive.
To fit it in there because it's 4,000 milliamp. Like it's insane. But it's also less efficient. So it needs to have that much battery.
Yep.
There's some really cool stylus stuff about the Note that I really, really love. But I'm like, I'd use that maybe once or twice a month max.
Yep. The one thing I heard that made me go, fuck yeah, was the fact that you could use the stylus as a shutter button when taking pictures.
That's super cool.
That's a game changer.
Super, super cool. I don't take pictures myself.
Only videos.
I don't ever want to. I only do videos.
Well, you have such beautiful hair.
Here's the thing. I know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Secondly, my girlfriend does it. So I always have to say that because she gets mad if I don't give her credit. So for me, if you've ever watched How I Met Your Mother.
Yes.
Marshall has the Marshall effect. I suffer from that. I can't take good pictures that I don't hate. So video, I work great in motion. But if you look at literally any of the stills of those frames, it's garbage. It's just some troll person that's looking at you. But yeah, like that it is undisputably cool, and it's brilliant execution. Like Samsung's getting so good at that. But there are certain things that, like Apple being in control of everything, no other manufacturer will be able to pull off except for the Pixel phones. And I just don't find the Pixel phones interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think Google knows what they're doing when they're making hardware.
Bold statement. Mm-hmm. If I was to go with an Android phone, it would probably be either the Note or one of the Huawei phones.
Well, then you just want the Chinese spying on you.
Yeah. I mean, who isn't spying on me these days, right?
That's true, but you know what? I would much rather Google spy on me for profit than China spy on me for domination.
Dominatrix.
Not that kind of domination.
Okay, all right.
Not the fun kind. But no, like Google spying. I mean, that's fine. But like to me, it's everything Google does feels very impersonal. And that shows sometimes on their phones.
Right.
And like I have like the Nexus 7 tablet, and it was good, but it was never as good as the other tablets because while it was really good at certain things, it was just like everything's like, I get why you did this, and it makes logical sense, and I bet you have statistics to back it up, but it still doesn't feel right.
Right.
Please don't ask me to explain what I mean by that because I couldn't possibly do it. It's the like Google suffers from the uncanny valley of effects, but with hardware somehow, which I think is actually fascinating that they've always had that problem and never fixed it.
The stuff that always gets me, and like you, sometimes it's really difficult to explain. The normal person, for example, when you're talking about AirPods and it says 4-hour battery life, people see 4 hours and they go, oh my God, that's not enough time. What Apple probably tested and knows before you even know it is that the chance of you going 4 hours uninterrupted with those things in your ear are very unlikely. There is probably 10% of you that work a factory job where you can have headphones in the entire day. This product isn't for you. But for the majority 100%. Of the population, you probably can't go 4 hours. And if you do take a half an hour break, you will already get 2 hours of charge time just by putting them in the case and putting them in your pocket while you go take a shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was actually when the AirPods first dropped. I was like, man, that's actually not that much time. And then I had gone through shit at this point. I think it was 4 different pair of Bluetooth headphones trying to find something. They're all fucking terrible. All of them. And it's even 100%. Worse when you're trying to find something for fitness. Fitting dicks in your mouth. Trying to fit this dick in your mouth. So,
and also in your ears because that's what they are.
The dick tampons,
just right? Small dicks in your ear, and it's not even a good experience. Like if I'm gonna do that, I want it to be good.
Exactly. Have you purchased an Apple Watch to pair with your iPhone yet?
No, and I never will.
You don't think so?
No. I don't see any value. Here's the thing, man. If someone asks me the time, I'm never not gonna grab my phone.
Okay.
Or look at the microwave. The microwave is the only other timekeeping device that I have any value in. And half the time, if the power goes out, it's going to take me 6 months to reset it anyway.
Fair.
My phone's always going to be in my hand anyway, so I don't really care.
Right.
The fitness stuff, I have a Fitbit. It's nice. I don't really look at it that much, honestly. Like, it's cool, but I don't really need that data very much. And I even have like a Fitbit, or like I have like apps and alarms that like will buzz you like, hey, you should get walking, all that kind of stuff that the Apple Watch does really well. And it just doesn't have an impact on me. That's me. Like that's not for like some people are impacted by that, and that's cool if it works for you. The only thing that they got me interested in was when they brought out cellular connectivity, and you can play your music through. So you can just sync your AirPods to your watch and listen to music. And then they said Apple Music only. Yeah. And I said, I don't care.
Oh, so you don't use Apple Music?
No, absolutely not. I use Spotify.
Okay. Because
Spotify is cross-platform. I can be on any of my devices. And it's great. And then same with the other thing is podcasts. For podcasts, I desperately need. And no support there. So nope, no interest. I have it's really cool. And I think some of the medical stuff they're doing is super interesting. So once I inevitably get cancer, I'll probably care a little bit more about it. It's just a matter of time on that, I'm going to assume. But until then, it's not that interesting to me. I'm into it. But the other thing is charging it looks like an absolute, just the way that the charging is set up is bad. The where it sits on the back, and how am I supposed to put that on a table properly so it stays connected properly?
It just sits flat, and you just place the watch right on it.
Really?
Yeah, I've never had to charge my watch. Well, there was one time because of a software update was draining the battery, but I put it on when I wake up and I take it off when I go to bed. But even now with the Series 3, you can wear it for 2 days and still.
Well, that's right. It's my Fitbit I have to charge once a week. That's great.
That's pretty fucking
great. So when they get there, I'll maybe care a little bit more. The other problem is I'm dumb. So what I mean by this, my father's left-handed.
Okay.
So because he's left-handed, he wears his watch on his right-hand side.
Right.
I grew up and was given a watch or whatever like that as a kid for a birthday gift. And I saw my dad wore his watch on the right-hand side.
Oh, no.
So I got used to wearing my watch on my right-hand side. and I'm not left-handed. I'm right-handed. So my watch is getting in the way of me doing things constantly, or I feel it all the time because I'm wearing it on the wrong wrist.
Wait,
Because I'm dumb.
you're right-handed, but you're
I'm
saying
right-handed and I wear the watch on the right wrist.
interesting. I wear mine on my opposite wrist so that I can do things with my dominant hand.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Okay, I was making sure I was on the right side of the fence.
No, you're right.
Okay.
I'm wrong. My dad is just left-handed and I'm not. So he wore it on his non-dominant wrist, which is right wrist. So I just thought you're supposed to wear it on your right wrist. I thought that's what you did.
So are you unable to wear a watch on your left wrist now? Because you're just fucked.
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it. I've tried, and it feels so wrong. But also, this is so wrong for different reasons because it's just super inconvenient.
Okay, fair.
So I just usually don't I haven't worn my Fitbit in or my Fitbit, Jesus, my Fitbit. That's a different situation. In weeks because it's been dead and I just haven't charged it, and I'm like, I don't really need it that much. It's fine.
I was not interested in the Apple Watch until it received the LTE compatibility, and I was surprised because I didn't know that Pocket Cast wasn't supported. Because like when I want to use the away from my cell phone feature, I'm either at the gym or I'm running, and I just use Apple Music. Like I can't listen to podcasts while I exercise. I don't know if you exercise on the regular, but listening to podcasts while I exercise is just a no-go.
I love it.
Really?
Live on it. Well, so my exercise for the most part, I hate the gym. I can't do the gym.
Okay.
To me, like lifting weights and stuff, like, why am I doing this? This is useless. But I like going on runs and jogging. Because to me, I might need to run away from something. So I at least have there's a utility here in addition to just being less fat. So for me, running is very much it's a mind clearing thing. I try not to think about work, and I can just dive into a podcast, whether it's a comedy podcast, it's just going to make me laugh while I'm running. I look like an idiot running around, just laughing my head off. And I just let it go because I'm in my world. I don't care about any of you.
This is my time.
This is me time. You all can go straight to hell. I'll just listen to podcasts that makes me laugh, or I'll listen to a hardcore history or something a little more intellectual that makes me think about stuff.
Okay.
And because I'm so clear of everything else, I can't look at Twitter. I can really focus on it. Yet, for some reason, I can't do I can't do audiobooks very well.
Really? That's interesting.
Yep. I think it's there's certain audiobooks where it's written in a spoken style.
Yes.
I can do it okay. But when it feels like something I should be reading, I zone out and I don't pay attention. But podcasts, when they're conversational, just hook me in so much.
Are you capable of, can you read? Are you able to sit down and read a book?
I don't know. If it's a really good book, but at this point it's rare.
Okay, so I'm speaking to when you were talking about your mental capacity when you're listening to an audiobook. Are you more keen to listen to an audiobook or to read a book?
I'd probably do better reading the book.
And you wouldn't zone out the same way if you were listening to an audiobook?
As much, but I still wouldn't do very well at that probably too. My attention span is fried.
Okay. It is the audiobook. I've had audiobooks that have been really psyched to listen to, and then I listen to the person who was chosen to read it, and I can't fucking finish it.
There's one exception, which was Artemis, which was written by Andy Weir, who did The Martian.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Not as good as The Martian. Let's be real clear about that. But it was still fun and entertaining. It was interesting. This was way more fiction. It's about a moon colony and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
The main character is this girl who basically grew up on the moon. She's sassy, whatever. It was narrated by Rosario Dawson. Fantastic.
Okay.
Because Rosario Dawson's she's in Daredevil. She and all of the Netflix Marvel movies. She's the nurse.
Yes.
She's a smart, sassy woman. So it's just she already has that persona, and she did different voices for everybody. And they had various different accents from different places on the planet, and she did them kind of badly. But the character says that she can't impersonate people, so it kind of works that they're not really good impersonations of a Russian accent. It's the character's interpretation of it telling you the story.
Got it.
It felt like a play or a movie more than reading a book. That was fantastic.
Okay.
And like that was like the first audiobook I listened to in a long time, and I tried again. And then I listened to a Gary Vee audiobook. Which if you don't know Gary Vaynerchuk and you're wanting to be in content creation, you should know Gary Vaynerchuk.
I was just about to ask you.
And his writing style is very much him talking and ranting. And also his audiobooks, he doesn't try to stay on script very much. He'll literally just say, he goes, this is for the audiobook listeners. Quick little updated rant because we're recording this 3 months later, blah, 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 and it's stuff that's not in the book.
Yep.
And I loved that.
Yeah.
I like, because that to me is just so much understanding of the platform and what you're doing, and so smart of an opportunity that nobody else does.
Yep.
I'm like, yes, give it to me. So then I went and tried to listen to Fahrenheit 451. Couldn't do it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
See, the Gary Vee, the first audiobook, I wasn't actually too keen on the second one with Crushing It. Crush It is the one that was my favorite.
I loved Crushing It.
Easiest audiobook listen that I've ever done. My main gripe with Crushing It was I applaud where he went with sharing other people's experiences and their stories, but not knowing that was going to be a part of the book going into it. I was looking for 120% Gary Vee going into that book.
Yeah.
And when 50% of it was other people's stories, I was like, not too crazy about it, but I 100% respect where he came from with it.
Yeah, I think he needed to do that, because if you had just taken away that other stuff, like even if he had filled in more to fill out a book's worth, I don't think it would have been as valuable. Like, this is like, hey, everything I said is still kind of true. There's some minor tweaks you need to make on these platforms now that it's 2018, but here's how I'm proof that I'm not an idiot.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I can get behind that.
Good man.
Yeah.
Are you confident enough to entertain my chat for 45 seconds while I go empty my bladder? Because I'm old and it's terrible.
Oh, God. I mean, I don't know, man. I've never been in front of a live audience on twitch.tv.
I have full faith in you. Goodbye, my love!
That's a great Dumb and Dumber reference that I'm going to hear very much. Hello, chat, and not podcast audience, because I assume this gets edited out. By the way, Lex Luthor, this is not my channel, but thank you so much for bringing your people in on a Lex raid. I really appreciate that. That's super nice. How are you? How was your stream? Lex, I don't know you personally, but hi, my name's Dable, and I'm going to follow you right now. Maybe not. Hang on, I forgot that this updated, and I can't just do that. Hey, look at that. Hey, look there, did that right now. Hey, how was your stream? What have you been up to? Do you have any great tricks? I cannot juggle. I tried to learn how to juggle, and I absolutely fail at it. I'm very good and dexterous with certain other things, being very PG here. But for whatever reason, juggling and keeping track of flying objects, can't do. Can't throw a Frisbee well either. I've never thrown a Frisbee straight in my life. Don't know why. What is a food that I crave? A lot of my cravings are related to my keto diet. So it's like a bread or potato related situation. But they usually don't last very long. A food that I will crave badly is Korean barbecue lately. We have a hot pot place, all you can eat. So good.
It was so good. Thank you.
No, wow. You know what? I wasn't talking about me, but also it applies to me at all times. I told you I was an egotist, okay? And I've had a beer and a half, and now I don't have a tolerance anymore, so now I'm going to be loving me.
How good does it feel to have just Oktoberfest all up in here?
It's it's one of my favorite beers ever. And I only allow myself to have it the day that Oktoberfest actually happens in Germany.
Okay.
I very much believe in limiting the like seasonal enjoyances.
Right.
So like pumpkin spice stuff, I will have some in October. The second November hits, I'm done.
Why?
So to me, so I worked in retail for a really long time. And so that like there's no better way to ruin a holiday than to work in retail, where Christmas starts playing at the end of October or middle October now, or beginning of October. I'm already seeing Christmas stuff in stores, and I hate it. I think it's the worst of humanity and business that's happening with that. If I ran a store, I wouldn't allow a single Christmas thing until the day after Thanksgiving.
Fair.
It just because it shits on these other really good holidays that are interesting. I think Thanksgiving is my favorite like last quarter of the year holiday. I like it better than Christmas and Halloween because Thanksgiving doesn't have all of the ridiculous pageantry. There's very little pageantry, and all of the things everyone loves about Thanksgiving is specific to their family. It's localized.
I also feel like if we were to celebrate Thanksgiving on a scale that we did Christmas, a lot of people would question why we are publicly celebrating like mass murder. Like,
yeah,
we all have to celebrate Thanksgiving in our own homes with our families, because if we go out talking about how much we love Thanksgiving, people are going to start asking some questions.
Yeah, for sure. And like the Pilgrims were evil, but like I love the overall the messages of what modern Thanksgiving is.
Absolutely.
Like I don't love Halloween. I think it's kind of cool. It's fine, but it has some really cool things about it. So I get why people like it. And I think on a small scale, when Halloween is just like the 2 weeks before the Halloween night, it's amazing. It's so much fun. There's so much excitement. It's great. And I do love that November 1st, candy's super cheap. That's fantastic.
Yep.
My favorite part about it. Although I can't indulge on that now, I'm realizing this is sad. I'll be fine. But like, I think that we have gone way too far with how we handle holidays, and like even Easter. You see Easter stuff too soon.
Yeah.
And even though I'm not religious at all, there's just some really cool things about Easter that I think are neat. But they've been ruined. And like pumpkin spice doesn't even have real pumpkin in it in most cases now, and that pisses me off.
Pumpkin powder.
Like, it's just nutmeg, guys.
So,
Nutmeg's good, but let's maybe calm down about it.
So speaking of Halloween and religion, I grew up a Jehovah's Witness until I was 18 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so afterwards, I was like, give me all the holidays, please. I've been fucking depraved.
Yep. Deprived. You also were probably depraved, but I can't help you with that.
Both. Deprived of cupcakes for a very long time. I'm owed some fucking birthdays.
Yes.
Halloween was the only holiday that I was just like, nah, I don't care at all. I don't care about getting dressed up. I don't care about the horror stuff. I don't care about trick or treat. I don't care about any of it. And even to this day, I have had girls in my face yelling at me because I show up to Halloween parties undressed. Well,
dude,
dressed, but not dressed how they want me to be dressed.
Can we talk about this witch phenomenon? Have you noticed this?
No, because I don't really pay attention when it comes to Halloween.
Okay. But like, there was a few weeks ago where this comment on like some Forever 21 or something, or Sephora was putting out a witch starter kit. And it was like makeup that like, if you're doing a witch costume, you'd probably want to have. And like a healing crystal and a tarot deck. So honestly, real quick from his marketing thing, real smart.
Barry, get your chakra aligned, dude.
For the last year or two, especially in like LA, like that kind of person, I've seen Instagram pictures of and stuff like that, like groups of girls that are all friends, and they go out to a cabin in October and have like their witch weekend or their coven or whatever like that, casting spells, like the bullshit Ouija board nonsense. People got upset at Sephora or whatever company this was for appropriating witch culture.
Oh my God.
And pissed. And it was trending on Twitter because how dare they make light of their beliefs. And I'm just like, what is happening? Witches aren't real. That's like getting mad at Stephanie Meyer for appropriating vampire culture. Like, what?
As much as I don't believe witches are real, the fact that there are females out there that are congregating to make believe that there are witches, and that scares me more than anything. I'm not okay with that. That's paranormal activity number 7 waiting for me, and I don't want to be anywhere near it. Okay?
No, dude, it's not paranormal activity number 7. That's just like the next what's the like obsession movie? Like there's not going to be deaths and murders because of spells gone wrong. It's just bitches going to be crazy.
You say that now
and feel empowered.
Okay.
Well, I can continue to say that because none of that shit's real because it's ridiculous.
What do you know? Have you seen all the Paranormal Activities?
I have seen none of the Paranormal Activities. So you have to. So I went literally about a decade of not watching horror films because I saw The Ring in theaters as a kid, and it ruined me.
Fair.
My girlfriend loves horror, so she's getting me back into it. So I have a lot of catch up to do.
Okay. I won't.
But I'm generally familiar with them.
Okay. I won't say anything because basically.
Oh, good. Don't spoil that cinematic.
Yeah. No, that's cinema masterpiece. There's a certain part of one of the Paranormal Activities where it's just a scene that is 50 times more scary to me than any of the other jump scares that happen throughout the movie. It's just the scene of how it's shot and the people that are in it that made me shit myself. But
it's about kids. It's about a kid. Kids are the creepiest.
Super fucking creepy. Have you ever played the first Fear game?
No.
God damn it!
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Well,
the only horror game that I really ever played very much was Resident Evil 2 as a kid, and I'm real hyped for the Resident Evil 2 remake.
Okay.
Because hopefully it doesn't have dog shit controls like the original.
You never know, man.
Not playable. It's the worst. And then I actually, weirdly enough, speedrun Outlast.
No shit. Okay.
It's a fun speedrun. If you're looking to get into speedrun, it's a really good one to start with. You wouldn't think it, but
is it still scary to you?
Not at all, because I know where all the jump scares are.
Okay, fair. All right. Well, we kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent on technology, but I want to hit the second point. I also do not want to keep you from your dogs and your lady because
No, you're fine. She's streaming doing something. I take as long as you want. I'm having a blast right now.
Okay, good. So
I don't want to make your podcast 4 hours long, so you just tell me when to shut up.
We've had some really long podcasts. I've been doing this for about 2+ years, and it wasn't only until recently that I started to have some sort of time limit. We do have a Q&A to do afterwards. So we don't.
I don't want to Joe Rogan.
I don't give a fuck. Like in my being, in my heart, I really don't care how long it is. But like for marketing reasons and for like consumption, like media consumption reasons, we try to keep it.
Look, I'm like one of your guests that's definitely gonna understand
that. So yeah, because you said you did have a podcast before, right?
I did for a while. Yeah, I did it for about a year. Finding weekly guests that won't flake on you, real hard to do.
Yep.
That's why I stopped.
Yep. I have. So the way that I do it is I have a bi-weekly podcast that I do every other week. And that one is pretty consistent. And then
bi-weekly means?
Yep. And then if I can find a 1v1 guest, I will throw it in between. So it's like, it's always bi-weekly. And then if I find another guest like yourself, then we just throw it in between. And that's kind of been like the perfect medium.
That is good. I did one by myself one, ironically, about astrology, and it was fun. But trying to do an hour by yourself is fucking hard.
Very hard.
And I was like, I'm never doing that again.
Yep.
But grinding to find good guests that I actually want to talk to is fucking rough.
And you always have to have the first episode is, am I going to be talking to this person? And then afterwards, like, oh no, they're actually pretty dope. I could shoot the shit for 4 hours, no problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, writing, did you write scripts beforehand or did you just go on a whim?
Never.
Okay.
Never.
So I pre-write all my scripts, always have for the last 3.5 years of podcasting. Coming up with content for a weekly podcast is very, very tough.
Real hard.
Yeah.
That's why I focus on guests. You know, it was very much like the Chris Hardwick Nerdist model.
Gotcha.
Which was like, hey, I know about you and I know you do these things and we'll be able to find conversations within that. But if we talk for an hour about dogs, I'm okay with it.
Same. Absolutely.
I'll happily talk for an hour about dogs. But
so going back to, again, the first
focus on the topic.
Laser. I found Dable on Twitter because somebody I had followed had kept retweeting his Twitter videos, and I get a huge
who do I thank?
I have no idea. I actually, you know what? If I go to your, does it tell me our common followers if I'm already following you, or does it do that before you follow?
It should.
Let me look at 10 followers.
Shout out to whoever retweets me. Everyone should be retweeting every tweet I do. They're all gold.
Okay, so here are the possible candidates.
Okay.
Hunger Service, Captain Sugar Spice,
Okay.
Chinny D, I believe it's Alicia Griffin. Ankart, which probably wasn't Ankart. Nathan Fox, Ashley Christ. It might have been Ashley Christ or Jay Dubious.
Maybe. I like all of those people.
They're all fantastic people.
I'm actually really upset because Hunger Service and Alicia Griffin are not far from me, and I just keep forgetting to go to Twitch Orlando meetups. So I haven't met them.
So is it Alicia?
I don't know. I haven't talked to her
she-
very much. I've talked to Hunger Service a couple times.
Okay.
But
She told me how to pronounce it the last time she was around, and I forgot already because my
when I
memory's
end up
terrible.
meeting her, I will DM it to you.
Okay,
Give it
please.
to you.
So
And it'll be in writing, but I'm just gonna spell her name out. So it's like, hey, by the way, it's pronounced ELYS. Like, I don't know what that means, but thanks.
So she rated me random one night because she was playing Hellblade, and I was also playing Hellblade, and then that led me to find her husband, Hunger Service, and both of their channels are great. I love watching that man make food because I just have come into loving cooking within the past year.
So good.
It's fucking great. It's great.
I've come into eating someone else's cooking in the last year, and it's been really great. I don't cook. I can make a good biscuits and gravy, and that's about it. And a good shrimp and grits. Weirdly, I don't know how.
Have you ever had chicken fried steak?
Yes.
Okay.
I live in the South. What kind of question is this?
See, I always feel like,
If it's fried, we invented it.
but Florida though, or Georgia?
Georgia.
Okay, because if nobody from Florida says I'm from the South.
Okay, hang on. It depends on where you are. So Florida is the opposite because, of course, it is. The more north you go, the more south it gets. Like where I'm at, and like by the border of Georgia and Alabama and Mississippi, it's southern. Like it's redneck southern.
Like
when you go
Sarasota
south-
kind of area.
That one's not that bad because it's like the Panhandle's a little weird. Part of it's tourist town.
Okay.
But like Jacksonville can be pretty southern. Like Gainesville and Ocala, where like the area that I'm at, is pretty southern. Like Ocala is like one of the big horse capitals of the country.
Really?
And there's nothing more southern than horse girls.
I have never known anybody
Yeah.
to be from Florida and have that cliche, stereotypical Southern accent.
You probably knew people from Orlando, Miami, or something like that.
Correct. Fort
where
Myers.
Culture, or Orlando and Tampa, which is where there is no culture. It's just dead and sucks.
It's fucking
And
dead.
then Miami, where there's a really cool culture. It's just not southern.
Can you say Florida in the most Southern accent possible?
Florida.
What?
The weird thing is, I don't have an accent at all, even though I've lived in the South my entire life.
Right. Okay.
My dad's from Illinois, so I blame him.
Oh yeah.
And he never picked it up.
He gave
He never
you
picked it up.
fucking the watch wrist and the lack of accent.
Also, never. Okay. Love my dad. He taught me how to drum, which was really great. However, I don't know how to do anything with a car other than drive it.
Okay.
I can't fix a car to save my life. My dad knows a lot about fixing cars. And now that I'm an adult, I've said that I'm angry that he didn't teach me any of that. And he says, well, I tried to. I offered. And you said you didn't want to. You weren't interested. I was like, well, you made me clean toilets in my room. And I didn't want to do that either. But now I know how to clean a toilet in a room, and I don't know how to clean a car. Why couldn't you just add that to the list?
I thought you said clean a toilet in my room, and I was like, motherfucker, you had a toilet in your room?
If I did, I could clean it pretty well, I bet.
Really? For sure.
But I couldn't fix a car.
So speaking of music, I meant to ask you earlier, has anybody ever told you that you sound like DJ Cutman?
I don't even know who. Oh, I do know who that
The
is.
chiptune
no,
DJ.
I've never heard that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I've not heard that one before.
You probably won't be able to hear it because how you hear your voice is
Yeah,
completely
it's
different. But when I first saw a Twitter video from you and heard your voice, I was like, oh, DJ Cutman's doing Twitter videos now. I'm like, oh, fucking wait, this is not DJ Cutman.
I'll take it. I mean, it's like I'm him, just without the talent.
You're so hard on yourself, man.
Look, someone's got to at least be good at it, you know? Like, there's plenty of people that don't like me and would probably shit talk me all day long, but they're not clever, so I don't really care.
So, okay, so they have to be clever in order to like be kind of be on par.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I want to set the bar for what shit talking is going to be, and no one else is doing it good enough for me. Which, you know what? That's my most defining moment.
Right there.
That sentence.
Realizing that.
Is it. Yep, I think that's it. Yep. I'm dissatisfied with how badly other people make fun of me. I think they should do it better. I give them plenty of opportunities.
Okay. Well, in that light,
focus.
Yeah. Twitter evangelists. So this is the term that I use for mostly in the streamer space. It is the name of people, mainly streamers, who regurgitate the motivational speeches regarding like just be yourself, just stream what you want and the viewers will come. All of this like just again regurgitated bullshit that's made to generate likes and retweets and interaction and all that stuff.
Yes.
And that stuff really didn't dawn on me. I've been streaming on Twitch for 5 years now, and it's not something I really noticed and kind of like internalized until like the past year or so. And then I saw these Twitter videos that you were putting out, and one of them was on that exact topic, and I've never retweeted. I think that is the video that made me follow. I was like, yes. And I was one of those dudes. I was like, you earned a follow. You did a good job. Here's my follow.
Yeah.
But I was just so appreciative of the 2 minutes. So the floor is yours. I want you to, if you want to rant, if you want to spew, do whatever, but I would just love to hear your take on the current state of Twitter regarding streamers and all of that shit.
So there's a few things that I've noticed, and it's that's one facet of it. I, by the way, love and am stealing Twitter evangelists because it's perfect. It really is the kind of cult mentality, which, to be completely honest with you, is every streamer who is trying to get popular is essentially trying to develop their own cult. It's just a matter of, are you doing it authentically and not to exploit people where it's okay or not? But to me, it's I call it hashtag positivity. I actually, real quick, I'm going to plug, because I'm a whore, my merch store on my channel. I have like a mug and stuff that it says hashtag positivity on it, but like in like gray letters, it's hiding behind, because to be completely honest, those people are covering up who they really are.
Right.
Like nobody's that happy. I see people like, oh, if you see any negativity in your life, you should cut it out. It's like, or you should listen to it and absorb it and maybe have a moment of self-reflection to figure out whether or not that negativity is negativity. It's someone expressing concern because you're a piece of shit person.
Addendum. Do you think that negativity should be received in that way on Twitter? Do you think that genuine negativity should be like taken into consideration?
It depends on whether or not that person has an anime avatar. So I mean, like in some cases, it is just someone that's an idiot, and you shouldn't listen to idiots because they're idiots. They're wrong.
Yep.
Like there is a right and wrong, and they are not the good part of that. So you shouldn't listen to them. You should continue to do exactly what it is that you're doing. And frankly, you should take it as a sign that if someone doesn't like you for what you do, you might be doing something right, because people are dumb. However, you should look at that person and say, does this person have a resume behind them? Do they maybe know what they're talking about? And then they're coming and saying, hey, this is dumb. This is bad, and you suck if you do it. And you think to yourself, I do that. Maybe I should rethink that. The problem is that's not what happens. What happens is, whether it's me or someone else, I guess this is the anyway. Say, hey, this is bad and it doesn't work. That is a statement that ends up being viewed as an attack. And so the natural human response to an attack is either to run away, and those people just block or mute you, or to attack back. And that's the people that use hashtag support small streamers. So they will tell you insistently why it's great, or why what they're doing is right, or whatever it is, even though they don't have numbers and facts on their side. They probably have their experience and their opinion, and that's all that matters. It's seen as, them saying you're a bad person. Now, to be very clear, some of the things that I say, if you do this, you are a bad person, and I will stand by it to the test, like till the end of time. Because even if it's someone that you or that I even like, they start doing things that are just shitty tactics, I will say, yeah, it's a shitty tactic, and it makes you a bad person for continuing to do that because you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you're doing is exploitive. You know what you're doing is causing problems, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Have you ever seen the people that write out a tweet like that? It hits and it gets retweeted and liked and everything, and then 4 hours later they come back and reply to that tweet that went viral, and they say, if you want a hashtag positivity stream with no negative vibes, come check me out at this that. It's like, oh,
dude. So with my company that I do, one of the things I always ask everybody is, like who are you? What content are you creating? And tell me about your community. And what I hear is I'm a variety streamer that is working on building a positive, inclusive community. And Jesus Christ, I can't tell you, one, how many people are just generally terrible people that are doing that. And two, holy fuck. Like, here's the thing, guys. Everybody that actually wants to watch somebody that's focused on being positive and having a nice community is watching Coke Carnage. So you should stop trying to.
Right.
Like,
it's been done.
It's been done. It's the most boring thing in the world. Like, I get where you're coming from. But like when I say I'm trying to build a community, I want a community of people that are funny and insightful. And so with that comes, a largely positive and nice community about each other. But I also don't want them just being fucking unicorns and rainbows all the time.
Right.
It's the same thing with holidays. You're going to ruin it because you have too much.
Mm-hmm.
You need a little bit of tension sometimes. You need a little bit of disagreement. You need a little bit of clash.
Yep.
You need someone to post that meme that makes a bunch of people laugh, and some people be like, I don't know what I like about that. But you also need those people not say, you're horrible if you like that.
Right.
Like,
I liked your other 3 memes, but this one offends me.
And now I hate everything about who you are as a person.
Yep.
And I will actively parade against you. Although, real quick, if you want to do an active parade against me, I can't guarantee you an easier retweet from me because I think those are hysterical. But I think it's like the reason that these Twitter evangelists are popping up, I feel partially responsible. It's also the fault of a lot of other big broadcasters that will periodically do some advice out there for people.
But they have the merit. Like,
they do, and I don't. But let's be honest, I intellectually do. Like, I've learned, and I know that I don't have like the resume. But what I'm saying is those retweets that everyone sees for a few days, and because we retweet everybody because there's some good advice there.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was people that looked at that and saw the retweet numbers and the like numbers are like, how do I replicate that?
Yep.
Started trying to find a way to replicate the result, and it worked. They did. They got a bunch of retweets. They got a bunch of likes. They got a bunch of new followers. They got people licking their assholes. They got the sycophants that will tell them, that's what I call it, is licking assholes. That it's just, you could do no wrong. You're the greatest.
Can I give you a secondary phrase if you enjoy talking about getting assholes licked?
Always. Yeah.
Talking about getting that ass sucked.
I like that one.
That's one of our favorites around here, around these parts.
That's going to be the next level up. There's going to be asshole lickers that are just like, oh, you're great. And then there's going to be like, I love everything you do.
No, I literally want to suck the fucking dinner out of your ass. That's how much I'm loving it right now.
But like, it worked because it does work.
It does.
It's the same thing. Like, it's just on Instagram. FouseyTube is doing it on YouTube, selling his fucking positivity shirts.
I'm sorry. Don't you mean King Rose?
What?
He changed his name to King Rose.
I don't know what I expected. Sure. You know what? I'm not going to look that up because I don't care at all about that guy, but I'm just going to believe you because you could say he punched a donkey in the face. And I'm like, yeah, all right. Yep, that sounds right.
Probably did.
Okay. But like, this guy who's just an insane lunatic selling positivity shirts when it's just delusion. It's not positivity, it's delusion. It is a rejection of reality in favor of a nicer, happier one. Same thing honestly applies to fucking mental health advocates. I'm going to go out there and say that the majority of people that are advocating for mental health on Twitch are hurting people more than they're helping. Because the thing that they are not saying to people only is, hey, you need to seek professional help. The one thing that can actually fix your mental health problems is seeking professional help and having a professional tell you what to do. But these pieces of shit are instead saying, I look like a fucking great person by doing this, so I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm going to revolve my community and show and stream, whatever it is, and really focus on that. Because nobody's talking about mental health. Dude, fucking everyone's talking about it now.
Yeah.
Like, you're not unique. You're not original. And more importantly, like I got into kind of like a tiff with a friend because they said, what if someone comes to you and says that they're going to kill themselves? I say, please don't. Like, I'm happy to talk to you for, and if you need someone on the quick, but you need to seek mental health. I cannot give you advice. I can't really help you. And they're like, well, I hope nobody comes to you and says they need to say that. I'm like, me too. I hope they don't either.
Right.
I hope they instead call the hotline.
It's not the best avenue.
Hotline. Yeah, like, I'm not prepared for that. Like, I didn't go through 8 years of medical school or whatever it takes. Like, I didn't do that. And I think that, there's so many people who's like, well, let's just talk about it a little bit, as if that's all you need to do. I'm like, motherfucker, you wonder why you need to take 1 week off every month because you're in a bad place. It's because you're not actually doing any fucking good.
Yeah.
And instead, like, what happens is social media praises these people because they're the ones coming out and trying to do something about it. And I get that. But there's no critical thought behind it. There's no thinking like, well, is this really a good thing? Should we be doing this? And the problem is when you come out and say, hey, this thing that you're doing is not good, you look like an asshole. There's no way around it because you're attacking the positive person. You can't look better and try to win hearts and minds in many ways because you're always going to look like you're trying to attack a good thing. And by the way, that's very purposefully done. That tactic works for a reason.
Yep.
And I'm just at this point where I got so sick of it because I've seen, one of my other big things I think is really fascinating about Twitch is I think that for many streamers, I started calling it baby's first internet. It's like their first dive into a community on the internet. It's like these people didn't grow up in forums.
Right.
It didn't grow up on early Twitter or, any of these things that, or an early YouTube. All of the things that have been the downfall of streamers and problems on Twitch are not new. Not a single bit of it is new. We've seen it all before. And that's why I talk so much about YouTube and I talk so much about YouTubers because they've gone through all of these growing pains before.
Mm-hmm.
All of what's going to happen with burnout, with some people killing themselves, with monetary problems, with, by the way, it is only a matter of time before Twitch has its Me Too moment. I'm going to be real honest there. Right before TwitchCon last year, I thought it was going to happen. It's going to happen eventually. It will.
Yep.
That's already happened on YouTube. All of these things have already happened. And so all it takes is looking at the history to see what has already happened and how can we avoid it so that we're a better platform for it. And not many people are doing that. Especially when it comes to the monetization stuff.
Sure.
That's one of the big things that I focus on a lot just because it's my job. But it's something that I really like. I cannot stress to people enough. Is like, you need to learn the history of the internet because all of the answers are there. Like, it's only going to be a matter of time before the affiliate program, you only get 30% of the sub,
right,
or whatever it is. I'm like, how fucked are you?
Now, speaking to monetization and mental health issues, what is your opinion on a company called Better Health having an affiliate program for a hotline where you can call in and get assistance? Now, if you don't want to get into it, your sigh and thumb biting was sufficient.
Let me explain that at least.
Okay.
I can talk about this a little bit. This is where unfortunately, I can't go into what I think very much because I do have a company.
Fair.
That has to do with streamer monetization. So I don't want to shit talk a company. There's a lot of questions about that company as a whole and their service. To be completely honest, my questions were, does this work? Like, very simply, does this kind of a service work? And if you don't know, BetterHelp is basically like, it's asynchronous therapy. Like, you are not face-to-face talking to somebody. You could do it through text. It might be a phone call. I've heard a lot of differing stories about, they talk about affordability. It's a pretty expensive service when you look at most online services, although it is cheaper than going to a shrink.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a lot of, they mention having like scholarship programs, or if you have, needs that they might help out. I've heard a lot of differing opinions on that, on whether or not they actually do. I don't want to say they don't. I actually know, so one of my favorite content creators has been for years is Philip DeFranco.
Yeah.
And he's been, I love that guy. Absolutely. But I skip BetterHelp ads, tell you that. I don't skip his other ads. On his subreddit, somebody posted some video from somebody that was like really critical of that service as well. And how it may not be, the experience is not necessarily exactly what it's being billed as, or like there's questions about the background of some of the people that are working on it. What I'm going to say is this: I do feel really icky about monetization on the suffering of people. And while this is not exactly what it is, I feel like it's in like that, I don't know. Like it is that kind of that gray area. I don't think I would ever look down. And I think we know, like, I literally look down on people for not capitalizing their name. I don't think I would look down on someone for accepting that sponsorship, as long as it came with an almost pharmacy, like a pills set of disclaimers at the end of every ad read.
Right.
Because it's not for everyone. It doesn't work for everyone. And it is also never going to be as good as going to see a professional in person. Like, I can text you all the words in the world, but you don't see the pain on my face, or you don't see the little micro expressions when you ask a certain question before I'm able to like put up my walls and answer. Like, those are things that professionals are trained on.
Right.
And so when you don't have that experience, I do have questions about how much it works. I haven't seen any academic papers on it, so I don't want to say it doesn't work.
Right.
And I know some people that have said I've used it and it's helped me a lot. That's great. It is not a replacement for going to see a person, and that's kind of where my problem comes from.
Right. My
questions come from. I'm gonna say it like that. My questions come from.
I see it as like it is a service that could be beneficial for sure, because you have people like, when you think of extreme situations of like a kid who has two alcoholic abusive parents, that they can't leave the house. The only time they're able to talk to the outside world is when they're on their computer, and BetterHelp is a world of a difference for that person.
Sure.
But when I saw that there was affiliate, and you don't have to respond because I know you have the company to protect, so I'm just saying this for me, because I've never talked to anybody other than Matt Weenie about this, was like, it seems really odd that you can become an affiliate and you can get paid for other people using that service. That like you said, it just felt like to me. It didn't sit right with me. But I think the platform or the service as a whole is providing great service to people that are really in need. But like you, I've also heard some very bad stories. But like anybody could tell you that they had a horrible experience with a therapist, right?
What I'll also say is I have this really weird like moral quandary of like, well, if it exists, then the people that are providing that service deserve to get paid. Okay. Also, I as an influencer exist, and I am the marketing material, and I'm bringing people to the service. And if they end up using it, then why shouldn't I get paid? Why should a Facebook ad and Facebook make money, but me as a streamer shouldn't? So like, I totally get being part of that affiliate program. I have less respect for Soylent. Soylent's so not what it claims to be, that it's banned in Canada.
Right.
Soylent sucks. I'll just say that. I'm never going to get to work with Soylent unless they change their formula. Oh, darn. But like, I'm sorry, they're making these claims, and they're also like trying to buy like medical articles in esports websites. I saw that last week.
Yeah.
Fuck you, dude.
Makes a couple question marks start popping up in places.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, if you're gonna go out there and say Soylent's a really great, like, I'm like, no, you shouldn't do that. maybe don't. Maybe don't do that instead. But this thing, I think there's enough situations where it might work. And by the way, go ahead and say Soylent's a treat, is a nice, tasty thing, and that it does like say what it is, but do not call it a meal replacement. That's why it got banned in Canada.
Right.
Also, what really makes me upset is when I see Canadian streamers do that.
Oh, okay. Quick segue before we jump into the Q&A.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on G Fuel?
Remember that one time they got sued for not disclosing that it had carcinogens in it?
What did you think about that?
And that's all I'm gonna say. I gotta be a nice boy.
Okay. Here's the thing that I can't process is that if the level of lead was not worth mentioning because it wasn't harmful, why wasn't it mentioned? And that's what I ask everybody who still consumes G Fuel. And they just go, oh, I don't know. They just didn't say it. I'm like, there's a reason that it wasn't said how much was in there, because the fact of the matter is if you say that your product has any sort of lead, it's automatic questions, regardless of whether it's healthy or not. What's like your go-to caffeine consumption?
Coffee.
Item? Coffee? Good man.
Coffee and Coke Zero.
Okay.
Coke Zero is a necessity because it doesn't have carbs or sugars or anything like that.
Right. Is keto no carbs, right?
It's basically it's as minimal carbs as you as you can. There's different people have different seriousnesses. I don't track. There's you can track macros and I have this number. I'm never gonna do that because I want to love the food that I'm having.
Right.
I still want to enjoy food because it's delicious and amazing.
Yes.
But yeah, so I just had no sugar in my coffee, which is fine. I haven't been doing that in a long time anyway. And I use half and half generally.
Okay.
Instead of creamer, because creamer is full of sugar.
What's your favorite coffee?
This is where I'm a dummy. Coffee. I don't get into the different kinds of brews that much. Honestly, Keurig's donut shop brand is really good and I like it.
Okay, no, it's okay. So not necessarily how the coffee is prepared, but just if you go to the grocery store and you're picking up coffee, what are you grabbing? Whatever's on sale?
Not I don't get crap. I don't get Maxwell's or something like that, right?
Okay.
We all deserve better than Maxwell's coffee.
100%.
But I'm also not getting the most expensive stuff. I'll get a Javalia, maybe the Starbucks blend. Something like that. I know it's not great. That's fine.
Okay. And plus, when you're adding creamer and or sugar, does it really matter at the end of the day?
Yeah, and no, I'm not doing that, so it doesn't matter. So there's a no sugar added pumpkin spice latte creamer that I have been enjoying for the last few weeks.
Okay.
So that's pretty decent. But yeah, just give me coffee. I really do think that, and I've thought this for the last few years, Red Bull and all these energy drinks is going to be our generation's cigarettes from the 50s.
Yes.
We're going to look back and be what the fuck were we doing to ourselves? The signs were all there. When you have some that are claiming it doesn't give you the jitters, there's a problem.
It's because you have the tolerance built up already. That's why I don't get the jitters.
Or it's that, or some really don't give me jitters where a Red Bull or something like that would. But it's just hey, maybe there's a reason we were getting jitters. And the thing that is basically the same thing, it somehow manages to suppress the jitters. Maybe that's not better.
Right.
Maybe let's just drink fucking coffee again.
We grew up in the generation of canned Parkinson's.
Yeah, basically. I guarantee that's what it's going to come down to. Or canned super herpes that we only get in our 60s. Something horrible like that.
Well, good thing herpes isn't as detrimental in your 60s as it is.
Well, you haven't had super herpes, so.
Any final thoughts regarding Twitter Evangelist? I know we spend a little bit more time on tech, but that just means we'll just have to have you back sometime.
That's a better use of time. Let me tell you that. Hey, question everything and everyone, including me. Don't just believe it. Think critically. I actually love what Captain Disillusion on YouTube says. He says, love with your heart, use your brain for everything else, which I think is really great. And ask yourself, what benefit is there in this person convincing me that they're right and liking them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be real honest here. My reason is so that you know who I am, follow me, and potentially maybe work with my company if you're an influencer, or otherwise maybe watch my stream. That is my 100% my reason. But also, I want streamers to be better. And I gain, because if streamers are better, then my company does better. And also my platform does better that I care about.
Right.
But I'll take that as opposed to so that you sub to me.
Oh, monetization.
Get people to sub to you because you're a good content creator, not because that they feel that they want to be close to you.
Exactly. All right, moving on to the question and answer before we call this show a thing. The first question comes from that Nintendo boy. What made you want to make the Crocs and Hot Pockets podcast?
I didn't.
I wanted to make the Keto and Flip Flops podcast.
Yeah, you guys ever had my podcast, which is a small amount of disappointment and mashed cauliflower?
So I feel like I get this question asked, wow, is that a fucking sentence? People ask me this question,
yeah.
and every 6 months or so, a little bit of variation gets added to my response, and that's because every 6 months or so, I find new value in podcasts. And when I first started it, my distinct thought process was, I want a part of the week that is designated to just talking to my friends regarding video games, beer, beef jerky, and Twitch. Like, I just want a cut out time slot where I talk about this stuff with my friends. And I have been an avid listener of the Joe Rogan podcast for years. And oh shit. Oh, thank you, Weenie. So I had been listening to Joe Rogan for quite some time, and I was like, man, this dude just sits and talks with people. And over time, I saw the different people that he was talking to and how much knowledge that he was gaining just by listening to other people talk what they are passionate about. And I saw that, and I'm like, I want to do that. I just want to set a time aside where I talk to people so I can learn about them, where they're from, what they're doing, what they love, what they're passionate about. And I just wanted that. And now the podcast to me is I get to sit and talk with people. And the other thing too is, like, when a life on Twitch means a life inside. And my podcast was a way that I could talk to people, talk to real people outside of playing video games, and kind of get that social aspect of real life without, like, cutting myself off from everybody. So it's a lot of different things, but I mainly just wanted a time that I could talk to people about the things that I'm passionate about. And with the 1v1s coming into the podcast about a year in, the 1v1 podcast is a way for me to meet new people and to just have awesome conversation with. And tonight was a shining example of why I love this podcast, because you just get to find new people and you say, hey, motherfucker, you want to just, like, come onto a random podcast with somebody you never met before and just talk shit?
I really am amazing. Let's just go ahead and talk about that for a minute.
And the ego comes out.
Oh, it's always gonna come out in the end.
All right, next question. This one comes from the Arbor. When is it acceptable to fart in front of your boyfriend, girlfriend?
This is a good one.
Go for it.
Okay. I've lived with my girlfriend for 7 months now, and she still doesn't really fart in front of me. I don't regularly fart in front of her. To be honest, it comes down to when you two feel comfortable enough to. But honestly, I've been in a relationship where it was like, we finally get to that point, we fart in front of each other, and that's great. That means you're a level of intimacy and closeness, and that's really good, that you can really be true humans together. Now that I'm with someone who I feel very close to and intimate with, I actually kind of like that we don't fart in front of each other. This is weird. It's not because I think it's gross and she shouldn't do it because a lady doesn't do that. It's more of, there is still a magic with each other that we want to keep.
Is it because the poopy hole is close to the pussy?
Nope.
Okay.
What the hell? Like I'm like you try to like have like a nice, profound, beautiful moment, and you're like, boo and boopy.
Your poopy's too close to your pussy.
God damn it. No, I think it's one of those where like, look, it's not going to be farting for everybody, but like, I think that okay, weirdly enough, I learned this from Queer Eye, the new Queer Eye. If you haven't watched it on Netflix, you need to. It's incredible. You should want to try to have some kind of magic. You should want to present that to yourself better for your partner. So if it's farting that like they kind of don't feel comfortable with, then my girlfriend just popped out. Then you should not fart in front of her, and that's your little bit of magic. If that's not it, but it's something else, then keep that magic and just go with it.
Got it. Okay, that's fair.
Shall I just like rip one right now?
Yes, please. Yes.
I can't. It's not there.
Sorry, guys. Sorry to disappoint you. Go away. You can be on this next week.
Wow.
So
I was gonna offer my insight into why I don't fart in front of you, but okay.
it's because you're magical. That was the response.
Love you.
Love you. Bye. So when Weenie and I, my girlfriend Matt Weenie, when we first started talking, we would Snapchat audio call because when we first started talking, she was still an Android pleb and we couldn't do FaceTime audio. So we were using Snapchat audio calls to talk to each other. And
you know phone numbers exist, right?
Yes. I'm trying to think of why we used Snapchat audio. I mean, it was probably easier to
Discord exists, right?
Right. It was probably easier just to like if we wanted to go from talking about our career to sending nudes, it was just we're in the same app.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's
right.
All right, I got you. Yep.
So I can't remember. I think it was either a cell reception issue where because Snapchat just used Wi-Fi, it was
like Discord does.
Yes.
Most of the beginning of our communication was also on Twitter DMs until I got too annoyed with how slow sometimes Twitter can be.
Okay.
Switch to text.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad.
Now that I'm thinking, it could be the beer. It could be just streamer fishnet. I can't remember why we used Snapchat for so long. But once she got an iPhone, we just did FaceTime audio because it was the most crystal clear audio.
Yeah.
What the fuck was I saying? Farting. I heard her fart in her sleep. She was like half asleep and she ripped one. And I said, princess, was that a toot? And she woke up and goes, yeah, and just something along those lines. And I thought, okay, it's a one-time thing. Totally fine. She came to visit me about a month or so later, and we had some gnarly food the night before. And we were in the proper spoon position, and she farted on my cock. And I thought, okay, well, this is
that's love.
Where we're going to. Have you ever had your penis farted on?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
No, I didn't like it, but it was like a I'm not into this. But that's love.
Was it because of the poop particles?
It's never because of the poop. Like I don't think about poop particles nearly as much as you apparently, or your friends, the people you're around.
You'll never. Every time you hear a fart from now on,
now it's ruined.
It's like when you like fluff your comforter when the sun is shining through your bedroom window and you see all of the dust and the hair that's flying into the air. Every time,
it's like the Little Mermaid VHS when someone points out that there's a dick on it, and then you can never unsee it after that.
Unsee the dick,
but you never notice it for the first 10 years. Yeah.
Yep.
Just like that. You know, that normal human thing that everyone goes through.
Poop particles, brother. It's like chemtrails. You don't know they're there until somebody points them out and says, "What is that?"
They're everyone in a Turn of the Frogs game.
Okay. Next question from G Willie. Knack, why do you look like a thumb? JK, love you. Okay. Well, that goes perfectly into the next question from Wiccan that says, Knackers, do you wish you had hair like Table? And yes. Yes, I do. I used to color my hair when I had it. And it's all gone now.
Look, man, I can't grow a good beard, so I gotta do something.
Okay, fair. Well, yeah, we'll go with that.
I put on a lot of contrast over my cam to make it look more filled out than it is.
Oh, that's
it's smart stuff. It's Instagram stuff.
Okay. Next question comes from Conbot. Any hot tips for growing a channel that has plateaued, specifically in a respectful and non-pushy way, as well as a creative and new way?
Do something different. Like, you stop growing for a reason, more or less. So whether that's you're in a directory that maybe has plenty of, like, let's just say you're at 20 viewers, because that's a hurdle,
Yep.
right? You finally get to 20 viewers regularly, and you're like, how the fuck do I get past here?
Guilty.
So you think of something, like, just think of something different. Whether, like, go start, like, that thing that you thought about doing that you've been, like, waiting to do for whatever reason, that. And then doing so is gonna mess it up, and you're gonna go under where you were, and you're gonna feel disheartened. And if it's good, that's the key thing. If it's good, you'll blow past it again. And actually, the funny thing is, like, speaking of keto and weight, that's what it was. I dropped down 20 pounds quickly and then stopped. And I broke the diet. I had a cheat weekend. I went ham and I gained 4 pounds. And then the next 24 fell off. So sometimes you have to do that to just kind of shake everything up, get your existing audience reinterested to come back, and then potentially bring in a new one because you're in a different place, a different time, different directory, different style, whatever it is. Do some weird shit. Pretend you got a webcam that can read your thoughts for 2 hours. Why the hell not?
I want you to either agree or disagree after my next statement. Well, you better have a good fucking reason. In today's world of Twitch, 98% of the time, you need to have a webcam to start. You cannot have bad audio, and you cannot just play video games and stream to grow a successful Twitch channel.
Yep. Largely agree.
Okay, what do you not agree on?
What's your last one? You can absolutely largely just play a video game and become successful. There's only one small hitch at that. You have to literally be the best in the world at what you're doing.
Right. And you probably won't be the happiest person while you're trying to make that happen.
Yeah, probably not. And you won't be that interesting. And the second that your game becomes unpopular or somebody starts beating you regularly, you will lose all of your popularity.
Or you try and go variety afterwards.
That's a whole hour's worth of podcast on how to do that correctly. But just stop doing what it, like, the thing, if you're going from fucking one game always, you don't just go variety. Yeah. Jesus Christ, there's no faster way to kill a community. I've seen it countless times.
I actually know of somebody who got partnered playing Agario, that worm website game.
That game. Yeah, that was the best.
Partnered playing that full time.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. That's peak 2015 right there.
Right, and that is the exception.
Those rooms are huge,
not the rule.
Yeah, but then the problem is Agario went away,
and then Slither.io came around,
and no one cared nearly as much as they did about Agario.
Yeah,
like the second place person or the one that does it again is never as successful as the first one. So stop trying to do that. Just be the first one.
Right. As far as my official response, I personally don't think I have grounds to stand on and to tell you what you can do to make a successful Twitch channel. I can tell you things that can help. And those 3 things that I just outlined, it's kind of like when you were trying to choose a path, you can play one game and you will most likely have an easier time growing a channel than trying to grow variety. Case in point, I've been streaming variety for 5 years, and you guys can see where my viewership is like now. You can see where my follower numbers are right now. Again, this is anecdotal experience. I'm one person, but for the most part, people who stream variety, it's a much longer grind than for people who choose to just play one game. It was not until my 3rd year of streaming where I sat down and brainstormed an idea, the clown, of how I could set myself apart from other people. 3 or 4 years ago, just being a loud, obnoxious dude could set you apart from the norm. But now there's a lot of that. And if you truly want to make your stream successful and you want to set yourself apart, you need to actually come up with an idea that sets you apart. It is not going to just come to you. The monster Tim the Tatman host is not going to give you the audience that you think that you deserve because you've been working so hard. You actually have to sit down and say, this is the thing that nobody else is doing, and I am going to commit to this in order to set myself apart, to get noticed. Not to succeed, but to get noticed so you have the chance at succeeding.
Yep. And even if Tim the Tatman does raid you, you actually have to be worth their time to get people to ever follow and then come back.
Right.
The second you start thinking you deserve something, get the fuck out of my industry.
Yep. Work for it. Final question. Never mind. That was not a question.
That's my favorite question.
Yeah. I love people that use the question command to say statements that have nothing to do with questions. Any final thoughts on any of the topics that we covered before we get out of here?
I think talking about all this stuff like growth and channel and community and all that kind of stuff, if I can impress upon a content creator or a viewer or whatever it is, capitalize your name correctly. Like, just fucking the first letter gets capitalized of all the names, and then sometimes you might have another one and that gets capitalized, and that's fine. But it's not all caps unless you're formerly an architect, and it's not all ever lowercase. If you're lowercase, you suck.
Are you?
That's my big takeaway.
Do I get away from this podcast judgment free for my all capperies?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
But to be fair, that like, it doesn't matter who you are. That's, I'm 100% like, no, I'm not going to judge you still. But I at least like your reasoning behind it. So, and you work harder as a result.
Is there a way that I could swoon you by sending you like a photocopy of my handwriting? Like, would that change anything?
Yeah, I think the way to do that is to write out your social security number, your address, and your credit card numbers and stuff like that, and that's how you can prove it to me. I think that'd be really good.
Okay, I can get behind that. That's fine.
Cool. Thanks, man. I'll expect that by the end of the day tomorrow.
All right, my friend. Well, that is actually going to be it for this podcast. I want to give a huge thank you to everybody that stopped by the show today, and equally as large thank you to the people that submitted questions for us to ask. In the future, every once in a while, I like to do a podcast where it's just a couple streamers and chat comes by and ask questions. And would you be down to be a part of that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Whatever you need, man. This was a blast. This was super fun.
I'm a firm believer that one streamer doesn't always know the best answer. So I like to have a lot of different people that have contrasting opinions on certain things.
I agree with that. I'm usually always right, but I mean, if you want to entertain that idea, that's fine.
The difference between right and differing opinions.
Oh, you mean wrong? Okay, yeah.
No!
That's fine. I'll talk to some wrong people. That's okay.
All right. Well, before we get out of here, what I want to do is I want you to take this opportunity to fucking just purge. I want you to sell out. Tell me where everybody can find you, what you have going on, what you're doing. Throw it all out there. The floor is yours.
This is my specialty. This is really where I shine. So you can find me. I try to post a few videos a week on Twitter, twitter.com/Daebol, Daebol. I do stream periodically on Twitch, same name. Also, one thing I actually really do want to push a little bit is my girlfriend and I, who you heard earlier talking about farts, have started, they can't see you, have started our own Twitch channel as well.
Show me your farts!
He wants to see your farts. We have started a channel as well, which is twitch.tv/relationship material. Where we'll be doing some games together. We'll be doing some like IRL chatting, answering people's questions. A lot of it is actually relationship focused because we're a couple.
Did you
get
that
has just started.
The proper spelling of both of those words together with no numbers, no nothing?
Do I look like someone that would go to a number?
Look, really? I don't know your thoughts about capitalizing certain letters over other ones, and I'm just
dude. There is few things more important in this world than branding to me, and I'm not about to have a relationship, but the first I is a 1 in my life. All right?
Okay.
I'm not about that life.
All
it is relationship material. We went through many names that sounded good and were available. Also, lastly, definitely not leastly, Dear God, please not Leasley. If you are a streamer or a content creator of any kind and you want help making money on the internet, bottlespark.com is my company. That's what we do. You can tweet us as @GoBottlespark. And when you do that, it's probably going to be me responding. So be nice or something. I don't know. But we want to help you make money.
Cool.
That's it.
Well, dude, it was a pleasure having you on. I'm super fucking glad that I decided to ask you to come over here and just sit and chat for a while. I would love to do it again soon.
Anytime. This was super, super good. And I'm glad we had absolutely no technical problems.
According to the live stream, there were no technical problems, right?
You and I know different.
And now I have to figure out why the fuck my gaming computer audio is melting to the fucking ground.
Have a fun night with that one.
I will. All right, everybody.
I'm gonna play puppies.
Wait, fuck! That's not fair.
All
right.
This is why it's great being me.
And this is true. This is very true. All right, everybody. Again, thank you so very much for checking out this podcast. If you guys are listening to the audio or video portion in the future, again, thank you so much for supporting the show. You guys will see me streaming lots next week. And of course, make sure to please check out Dayball on all of his respective social media platforms. We will be back for episode 73 of the Crocs and Hot Pockets podcast next Sunday. It will be a free-for-all episode with Middle Age Stream and Salty Sam and one other special guest. So if you guys are interested, come on back and chill with us. But all in all, thank you so much for hanging out, and we hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. We'll see you guys later. You can say bye.
Oh, bye.